It's time for another lap around the track with all the latest in motorsports interviews. Sometimes we get bent feelings, but we can't wait for the Bent Fender Podcast with your hosts, Nathan Conway and Wes Llewellyn.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Bent Fender Podcast. My name is Nathan Conway, driver of the number 40 stock car, pork chop, as I'm known in some circles. With me, as always, Wes, the bumper shock Llewellyn.
I'll take it, man. I feel powerful and important.
Yeah, too bad we cut them off the cars and throw them in the junk pile.
Oh, damn it.
Anyway, another episode. We're episode 15.
Yes, 15.
It's another milestone, and damn it, we got another exciting episode because we didn't get enough crashing and bashing.
Nope.
2 episodes ago with Tristan Bays. Our car was still running. Our demo car was still running. We're going to take it out again.
I'm excited.
So, we've got a very special guest coming on today. You might know him as the one and only Scrotum Yoder. But to us, he's just Robby Derrington. And, he's agreed to come on the show and with much arm twisting and things like that.
I wouldn't necessarily say, a lot of arm twisting.
No, it was not at all.
No, I think anytime you have, people who love talking about what they love talking about, they're going to agree.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, we can't wait to sit down with him, recording this prior to us. It's going to be another Field Trip Friday. As we love, it's come to be known here at the podcast, Field Trip Friday, or whenever the day we do it, but it is actually Friday.
It is.
Ish. We're going to... he's been invited us out to his garage, and we get to go out there and set up and invade his space for a little while, and hopefully he's got a lot to say.
I believe that as an internet personality and celebrity,
right,
that, he does have some things to say. I mean, he's kind of built a small following of having something to say. So.
Absolutely, man. And Scrotum Yoder. You look at what was he did? We look at it the other day. 22,000 some odd followers he's got on Facebook.
That's a chunk.
Yeah, I mean you guys might know him. He's got the Red Sunfire, and which they affectionately call the Slut Fire.
They do.
And it's kind of just as famous as him, and that big old red beard and long red hair, and the hashtag. Know what I'm saying?
That is him.
I can't do it as good as he can, and hopefully we're going to get a little Scroyo out of him today, and I think it'll be cool, man. Because here's the thing, we contacted him, and here's how it kind of started. Is I saw his videos a long time ago and liked his page and watched a few of them, and just laughed my butt off, man. I just thought it was hilarious, and some of the antics he comes up with, and just fearless, and it's funny. You know what I mean, to me. And it's funny to a lot of people, apparently, because 22,000 followers, and, that's just the followers. It's not how many people has seen his videos. You're probably looking at, way more than that.
Oh, for sure.
So, which each video gets, how many ever views. And we'll let him kind of tell us about that, later on. We'll ask him about it. But, I kind of showed Wes, and, I found out he was local. I thought that he did not live where I thought he did, up in Indiana. He's originally from there. I've come to find out, I guess, just talking to him. I actually talked to him on the phone the other day, and if you've heard Scrotum Yoder, the character, well, Robby sounds just like him. It's just not over the top like that. We
Right.
had a great conversation, about 45 minutes to an hour on the phone, and great guy from what we talked about, and. I just kind of gave him an overview. We contacted him through Facebook originally and just asked if he would be interested in doing something like this, since he is, a demolition derby driver. And, of course, that's right up our alley. And, we want to put a little comedy out there for you guys, too. And that's important to us because, one good story from this week, Eric Wetstein, shout out to our buddy there.
He is.
He, huge fan of the podcast, man, just has got a whole room of memorabilia from the podcast, and we don't have any of it. So I don't know how he got it, but he's got a whole. But no, he's nice enough, and he always talks to us about the episodes, and kind of giving us tips and things about who he'd like to hear, and we welcome that. He's doing great things by talking to us and telling us that stuff. But you know, he had his little job site radio, a little Bluetooth on there, and making his coworkers suffer through 2 hours of this show. No, I tell you, he was listening to the episode with Jeff Macy. He told us, and he's a guy who, and I'm hoping that a lot of you out there are like this as well. Is they're hungry for more, and he's like, hey, I'd listen to 5 episodes a week. Whatever you guys want to put out, and we need more, and we need more. And we want to give you more. We want to give you as much as we can give you. The only problem is, scheduling-wise, it's got to work out for us, and it's got to work out for our guests. So, unless you just want a ton of episodes of just me and Wes sitting here talking, I know Eric's going to listen to this episode, as he listens to all episodes, and we appreciate him doing that. But to him personally, just like we told him, just scheduling and that stuff like that. So as soon as we can get somebody on, we will have them on. I mean, that's the honest truth. We are working on that. We're working for a lot of different things to do to get people on this show. So just don't think we're not. We really are. It's got to be right for them and right for us. We're all about the quality. And if we have to sacrifice a little bit of quantity for the quality, again, people clamoring for those stories, man. They're wanting them. And who was it? Blake Shock sent us a message the other day.
He and I spoke for a little while, and he gave me a list of people that he would like to see on the episode. On the podcast. And so, that's what we're doing. We're just continuing to compile these lists.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we want to do is we want to get some multi-guest shows and maybe a guest host or two, and heck, I can try to pry out some things, but there may be other people that know things that I don't, that they can get a good story out of somebody too. So that's that's super important to us, and that's one of those things where, again, quality is the key.
And we've committed, to each other.
Oh, yeah.
To Nathan and I, we have made the commitment, and we've made a commitment to you guys that we are capable of putting out an episode a week, and we don't want to go a week without an episode.
No.
And that's, and I keep telling Nathan this, and I think it's going to, resonate with you guys, the listeners as well. Racing happens during the summertime.
Yep.
The year, has many more weeks than just the summertime. So by us being able to do an episode a week, that's going to bring you guys 52 weeks of racing.
Every year.
It might not be sitting in a grandstand. It might not be eating a hamburger from the Slide Job Cafe, but we're going to bring you racing every single week.
But we do want to make it the best it can be and the best for you all. Again, this is not our podcast anymore. It's really not. It's yours. It's your podcast, and you guys we're trying to let you guys dictate a little bit of what you want to hear. And goodness, did we get the list from Blake Shock, like we said earlier. I mean, it was a huge list, and let me tell you, they're all heavy hitters. Now, not to take away from our guest, Robby Derrington, and a.k.a. the Scrotum Yoder, know what I'm saying? He is going to be on here in just a couple minutes. So now we should do the weekly rundown stuff at the podcast. So now our sponsors are Mach 5 Race Cars, Parts and Carts, Fairview IT Management, Martin's Towing and Recovery, Chad's Barbershop, Glenstone Construction, Slingshot Media, Red Star Graphics, High Octane Racewear Graphics and Apparel, and Willie's Carburetor and Dyno Shop, especially Billy Egler, helping us out there, especially this week. You can find us on Facebook, Conway Racing Team, Twitter at Conway Race Team, Instagram, Conway Racing, and the website, www.conwayracingteam.com. Tell us where they can find it.
Well, if you're an iTunes fan, Apple, iPhone kind of guy or gal, you can find us on iTunes.
She's a woman.
She's a woman. That's important. You'll find that later. But if you're an Android fan, you can find us on Google Play. You can download the Podcast Addict app. You can use the Podbean app. You can find us on Stitcher, TuneIn, the website, YouTube, Spotify, and
hopefully soon.
We have been submitted to iHeartRadio.
With that, hey guys, support local racing. Get out to Windy Hollow Speedway, running on Friday nights most of the time, running an occasional Sunday night. Get out to Cedar Ridge Speedway on Saturday nights down there in Morgantown, Kentucky. Kentucky Motor Speedway in Whitesville, Kentucky on Sunday nights most of the time. Well, they always run on Sunday. Get out and support the radio show. Blake Smith, one of our esteemed guests and colleagues. Hopefully we're going to start a wonderful journey with him. And we're off to see the Wizard, hopefully. And it's going to be guys, if we can pull off what we want to, you're really gonna enjoy it. So you can find him Regional Motorsports Power Hour, the racing radio show, live every Monday night from Maloney's in Owensboro. You can find them on 102.7 ESPN The Game, 94.7 WBIO simulcast. Again, we said every Monday night, 7 to 8:30, an hour-and-a-half show. It starts off with Rusty Allison and the prayer, and then immediately into the national anthem. So it's just like being at the races.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. America and the Lord. They can get you through anything. Have we covered it all?
Yeah, we need to get in the truck.
Yeah, we do need to get in the truck and go out there to Sargo. Is where we're headed.
Land of the Scroyo.
Land of the Scroyo, and he's inviting us in. So when we come back from the break, we're gonna tear something up. So we'll see you then.
Having trouble getting your business vehicle noticed? Want your race machine to look sharp on and off the track? Give Josh Taylor a call at High Octane Wraps and Apparel. They specialize in high-quality vinyl graphics as well as full vehicle vinyl wraps. They can handle jobs of all sizes, whether you're racing go-kart all the way up to your semi-truck, with quick turnaround in design and install. You can truly call today and look good tomorrow. Give them a call at 270-929-2605 or stop by the shop at 2531 West 2nd Street in Owensboro.
And we're back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. It's another Field Trip Friday as we've taken a trip out here to beautiful Sargo, Kentucky. And we're going to be bringing on a gentleman here in just a second, another Demolition Derby driver. So we're gonna bend those fenders again today. Robby Derrington, he's coming on the show here, and you might know him better as Scrotum Yoder from Facebook fame. So Robby, welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on and talking with us.
Ooh, what your boys and girls been up to? Oh, Scroyo here. Just tune in you. Let the boys and girls know what the boys and girls been up to. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we're going to be coming at you about 45 seconds to a day and a half here. Coming at you with round rubbers, mud flaps, and grips and babies. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be asking questions, answers. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to be coming at you with everything we got for you. So I'm doing all right, and we're out here on a hot-ass day, a Saturday over here in Sargo, Kentucky, and it's humid as hell, and I got a bunch of shit wrote down here that I make sure I want to tell everybody I've got to say.
I see that.
It's a lot of information.
I see that list.
So, what you got for me? And we'll do the best we can, and hopefully we can keep everybody entertained.
Well, we might have to put a leash on Scroyo. You never know, man. He might get out of hand here before it's over with. And buddy, you know, I just want to start out with tell everybody who you are, and I know you're a Demolition Derby driver, and just tell us how you got started in the sport.
Well, y'all might want to sit down and take a minute. Tell you what,
time,
I went to my first Derby. Believe it or not, I was 2 weeks old. I got a picture inside, and got my T-shirt all airbrushed up with my dad's name, and that's the reason why I'm in the sport today. My dad's been derbying for 34, 35 years now, and he hasn't been out there on the track last couple years. You know, that's all right. We kind of take care of it. Me, my brother, and my wife. You know, we're the drivers in the family now, and no, I started following him and helping him get cars ready, and he'd bring home a car on Friday, and I'd have me a claw hammer, a set of socket wrenches. I'd get out there and pretend like I was doing something, and we'd be out there on the track Saturday, and
all 10 millimeters.
Oh yeah, I never knew what a 10 millimeter was. I just thought it skipped that size.
That's right.
So no, anyways, it was awesome. You know, growing up, that was basically the biggest and most memories I have was being with my dad, building derby cars. And you know, back then, hell, we'd only do 1 or 2 derbies a year. You know, unlike today, you know, it's nothing to go watch 30, 40 derbies and, you know, hell, run 5 or 10 of them. It's just the sport's evolved so much. You got to do so much work to your cars to even be able to go out there and compete. And if you're not competing, you really ain't having no fun. And but yeah, I ran my first derby when I was 14. It was I believe it was a 92 4-door Cavalier, and I ran over at Warwick County. That's Boonville, Indiana.
All right.
There was 32 mini cars, and I was the only driver out there, I believe, that was under the age of 20. And I went out there and somehow sandbagged my little scrawny ass all the way to second place. And shit, just had a blast. And I was hooked. My dad was so proud of me, and that's how it started for me. Just been hooked ever since. So that's just what we do.
Well, you told me a story when I got to speak with you on the phone here a week or two ago. You were talking about your dad and how, you know, he was such a big influence, but you're big into the mini cars. As we see, we'll set the scene as we always do when we go somewhere. We're sitting in Robby's garage out here, and his derby car is sitting right here on the trailer. We're looking at it. I'm facing it. It's growling at me, actually. But, you talk about your dad and how you told the story about when the mini cars got started and how he was like one of the first guys to ever do that. Which, you go for the listeners here and tell us that story.
Yeah, so, mini cars ain't always been a thing, and if you really be honest, you go back to vehicle history, a whole lot of mini cars, which, by the way, for you guys who don't know much about mini cars consist of 4 or 6 cylinder engines, and then wheelbase, and depending on where you run is depending on, which wheelbase you run off of. It used to be 106 and below, and now with the modern days, you're getting a lot of mid-size cars being built, not a whole lot of mini cars being built anymore, so they had to up the wheelbase to 108, 109 some places, and a lot of people don't like it because you got bigger mid-sized cars running against, mini cars, but, you got to do what you got to do to get car count up.
Right.
But anyways, my dad, used to run, back in the 80s. He ran a lot of big mid-70s GM models and stuff. Well, they came out with the mini car class. I think it was in the early 90s, late 90s. And he took the very first mini car to the fair, and no one showed up. So he took it back home, left it on the trailer, and went back the second year and had it on the trailer, and still no mini cars. So he was the only mini car showed up to that particular fair for 2 years in a row. And after that, mini cars started catching on, and the rest is history. A lot of times now, normal fair derby, mini cars usually outnumber the big cars, and yeah, there's not as much money being spent on the mini cars being built, and I think that's why we get numbers. But man, they're a blast. You feel all the hit. There's not much car there, they absorb it. You feel all the hit.
Well, you talk about some of the why the mini car scene is getting a lot bigger, but these big cars are going away too. I mean, if they're going to keep derbying them, they're going to go away fairly quickly.
Yeah, there's of course we're rolling with the times. Believe it or not, there's a lot of 2000 models to up to 2007, 2008. Crown Vics. Those things are being rocked, and those things are hard. Some of those frames, and of course I'm not going to pretend to know a whole lot about big cars. I just don't. I've been around derbies my whole life, and I've just never took an interest in big cars. They do their thing, and I do mine. And but no, some of them big cars, that. They tilt those frames and weld all the seams, and they hit hard. But yeah, I still think big cars are going to be around for a while. They those guys they can figure out how to make a plastic spoon hard. You know what I'm saying? and I give them a bunch of credit. They spend time and money and time, and and every weekend they show up, and you got some guys go out there and rock hard, all night long, and come up short of a victory, but they put on a show. And you got some guys that go out there and they drive their asses off, and they get called baggers. But when they bring home a $1,000, $10,000 check, it's really hard to discredit them. So I give those big car drivers a lot of props. I've never really had much interest going out spending $5-10 grand on a drivetrain, and it don't interest me too much. I'll run my one and dones and move on. So.
Well, that's exactly how it is in the stock car world, and that's not a stretch for somebody to spend $5 or $10 grand on a train, a drivetrain for a stock car. A little bit different.
Yeah.
Got to make it last just as long, because you guys, I mean, hell, you run a whole derby without any water, so
Yeah, it's you get out there and your temptation gets up. Shit, before you hit the track, you see all your water on your ground. Fuck it, you just go. Something's gonna give, but it doesn't matter. You built all weekend to show up for that night and put on a show, and you go no matter what.
Well, it's worth it at the end. I mean, even if without the money, I could see where you had that much fun at least.
Yeah. I mean, I have done racing. Believe it or not, I've gone up to Tri-State Speedway and I've raced a couple times, and believe it or not, I've done a bunch of reverse races, and I don't get the same thrill going around the track than I do in a square wall track. there's something different, going out there and just coming across the track and watching some guy's eyes light up as you shove his front end all the way back to his firewall, and then coming off of him, thinking, hell yeah, I just came in your kitchen and, pumped your shit full of blood, and there ain't much you can do about it. But that works both ways.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can see how he can see your eyes and you're like, oh crap.
I've had my fair share of ass pucker moments, and it ain't fun. You get out there and you lose a wheel and you're still moving, so you don't break your stick. Some guy sees you and just his lips pucker up, and you're gonna get pumped, and you just got to take it. You got to take it and leave that stick high in the air. And yeah, sometimes he'll screw himself, and you can hold your head up high, but nah, it's just a lot of fun. You can spend a lot of money on your car. You can do a lot of strategizing. It takes years and years of running to really get a know what works, know what doesn't work kind of thing. But at the end of the day, any derby driver tell you it's luck. It's all luck. It ain't nothing but luck, and hope you have a bunch of it.
Well, and that you can liken that to some of the stuff we do on round track is, it is a lot of luck. And this thing's a super highway today, man.
It's a speedway out there. They know where I live, and they won't leave me alone.
We're not going to give your address out because we don't want everybody out here trying to smash up the Scroyo.
There
for sure.
you go.
But but no, it is a luck game, and you've got to have a lot of things on your side, because anything mechanical can break at any time. You can have problems inside the car, you can have problems with yourself, overdrive, whatever, and it's just got to work out right, and I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I tell you, it's it's really, from each car you run to, each one of them's got its own flaws, each one of them's got its own strengths. Me personally, I like Chevys. I like running the Chevy Cavalier. Just the last couple years, we've been able to run W bodies. Again, that's a mid-sized car. They got a steel K-frame. It's a subframe underneath the front engine that holds the engine up. True mini cars don't have that, and you get a lot more strength that way. And but they all move. There's a lot of tricks, a lot of trade secrets, and you learn some, you lose some. Some never were any good anyways, but
old wives' tales for those, son.
Yeah, but man, there's just, I still remember talking to my dad. He tells me secrets they used to do back in the day. Hell, today, we can weld our suspension, make it solid, homemade. Use tubing, pretty much. And again, it depends on what shows you go to. Some shows you can't do any of that, but he used to tell me they couldn't do nothing back in the day. They'd fill their tires full of water, and that was illegal.
I've always heard that.
Yeah, they would. Believe it or not, they do it for traction. That's mainly the reason what it was is, it'd make those big old cars heavy, and they'd make, they get better traction, and also it'd help them from beating off the rim.
Right.
But the canister shocks on those OGMs, he said they would jack them up and stick rags up in the shocks, and when the rear end would come back down, it set about 3 or 4 inches higher than usual.
Wow.
And he said, it'd help a lot. It's like just stupid little simple stuff like that, and here we are, throwing tubing up in there, welding that shit solid. And back in the day, they had to resource to rags. So
a bag full of shop towels. Back. We're gonna get some ride height out of this thing.
Get some rags over here, would you?
Well, you're back on the vein of your father right now, and I want to stick with that for just a minute. Whenever I was talking to you on the phone, that seemed to be one of those things where it just made you light up, because your father's still with us, correct?
Yeah.
Right. And he, seems to be just such a big influence on your life, and especially what he was able to do, because you called him your hero when we were talking, and I kind of feel like, the way you're talking now, I truly believe that he is your hero.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Not a doubt about it. That's where really all of our most of our memories lie. Is derby tracks. That and auctions. He's an auctioneer, and that's kind of. I grew up going to auctions and derbies, and that's it's what we got in common. And I'm also a licensed auctioneer, and as well as him, and it's just fun. I think that's where I the whole Scroyo thing, that's probably where a lot of that influence come from, was being able to talk fast and not really get stumbled up on my words. I get in front of crowds, hundreds of people, and number it up, and I got to entertain hundreds of people at a time, or they're not going to buy anything.
Yeah, that's
so. But no, he's one of the best auctioneers I've ever heard, and like I said, he hadn't derbied in a few years, but back when he did derby, everybody knew his name. It was rare when he didn't bring home a trophy or money, and it would be harder today because there's just so many people that are running more than they used to. But he just keeps his composure and focuses on the small things on a derby car when he's building that really takes people out, and that's what I learned a lot. Back in the day, people were dragging cars out of weeds and just to take them to the derby tracks, and we were always looking for everyday drivers. I always asked my dad, why are we putting an everyday driver on the? He's like, well, listen, if it can drive 2 hours every day on the road, he said it's going to drive 15 minutes out there on the mud. He said he said you're beating half of your people right there. He said other people are dragging these cars out of the weeds and working on them for 2 days just to get them to run right. He said these cars run right off the street. I was like, well, hell, that's a pretty good deal. But now everybody does that. So
damn it.
Yeah. Now everybody's running cars off the streets. We get called crazy for taking cars with 140,000 miles, 30 miles to a gallon, title, and we pay $400 for them. Go shit them. And people cuss us out for it, but you know what? Oh well.
Hey, they got their money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I never understood that. We always talk about going to buy cars, and I'm into the big car stuff on dirt. I run a Caprice, so 30-foot cars and all this stuff. But you'd try to go buy a car from somebody, and
we're gonna fix that up.
Well, yeah, right. It would be either that or you'd have to tell them that, because if you told them that it'd be a race car, they'd be like, "No, I'm not selling it to you." Immediately, they would not sell it to you because they didn't want you out there. And of course, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna beat the fenders off of it. You're gonna be missing tires and everything." Well, eventually,
Yeah.
but not right now.
Man, that's funny. I actually got the greatest story on that subject. Me and a couple buddies of mine back in high school. I don't remember everybody who was there, but I know Nick Rader was there, and so he can definitely vouch for this because we laugh about it every now and again. And but we were driving around just like we usually do, looking for old derby cars, stuff we could throw on the track. And so we find this old house where it was a really nice house, much nicer than anything we'll ever have, and out in the country. And we seen this little Nissan Sentra, and we drive up the driveway, knock on the door, and this woman comes out, and I asked her about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that thing hasn't ran, and it's a POS, but to us it looked great. Tires were up. It was a rare find." Yep. And she's like, "Well, what would you guys want for it?" And we already knew. We told her we're gonna derby it. All bets were out the window. And we kind of looked at each other, was like, "Crap, we didn't come up with a pregame story on this." And and I don't remember who it was. It might have been me, might have been him, might have been one of the other goofballs that was hanging out with us. And we said something like, "Well, we're in high school," and she goes, "Oh my gosh, is this a class project for shop?" And we all just looked at each other, was like, "Yeah, it is. It sure is." And like, we're gonna fix it up. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's awesome. This thing, that's what this car needs. It needs a whole renovation." And we're looking at this thing like, this thing's gonna get shit turned. And all of a sudden, she's everything but handing me the keys to this car. And her little girl, it's like 5-6 years old, comes out, and she just starts bawling. And she's like, "Oh no, don't get rid of my car. Oh, it's Daddy's car," because it used to be her dad's work car.
Oh no.
And she is flipping out. And we're like, crap, we're not going to get this car. And she comes out, and she's like, "They're going to give this car a good home, and they're going to renovate it, and they're going to paint it." And then she looked at us, she goes, "And you guys are going to send us pictures of this thing all renovated, right?"
Sure.
Like, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are. No problem." And so right before I handed her money, she goes, "No, just don't even worry about it. It's going to a good cause." And I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh no.
So anyways, the whole way home, we're laughing and rolling. We're like, yeah, we're going to renovate this thing. And
For sure.
so after we derbied it, we took some pictures and dropped them off in her mailbox. And no one said, we said, we know we just want to make sure she had those pictures, you know. Show her daughter.
She wanted the pictures.
She wanted those pictures. I don't know. I've never followed up on that, but
probably
it is there, and it just, you had to be there because it was a heartwarming moment.
It sure was,
and we were a part of it.
Yeah. Well,
my gosh.
Well, that's something to share, and then it may have inadvertently caused a death in the family by the time they saw those pictures.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe some institution. I don't know.
That little girl grew up.
Yeah,
thinking about her daddy's car.
Golly. I mean, this thing was a piece of crap.
See, and if we could go back and tell her now, and be like, if you knew how much badassery your daddy's car was a part of, you would have been proud.
If you knew what I put your car through. Yeah.
Oh man.
But no, it was good. It was a good time.
So, Derby, in and of itself, has been your main love all your life. But was there any other sports that you were interested in, like you've ever been a NASCAR fan or things like that?
I tell you what, yeah, of course, Dale Earnhardt, I liked watching him, and that sad day when he left us, I don't think I've watched a NASCAR race since. And I'll be honest, I wasn't some hardcore NASCAR fan, and I didn't walk around preaching number 3, but there was just there was just something about watching him on the track. He didn't give two shits about what anybody thought. He didn't give a crap about what his crew chief thought. He didn't give a shit about what NASCAR thought, and he just didn't give a crap. You wanted to penalize him. He didn't care, and you just don't get that no more. You just don't.
All right.
You don't see people that have that kind of mentality, and they're afraid they're going to get suspended or fined, and that's in any sport. It's not just NASCAR.
Yeah.
That's in basketball, baseball, football. Those guys don't care.
Absolutely.
And I'll be honest, when it comes to professional sports, I hardly watch any of them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to the local venue and see way more competitiveness, way more, grit, iron, and that's what it's about.
Right.
See two guys go out there and battle for it. And it's very rare that I watch professional sports anymore because of that. Now, I haven't watched NASCAR, since the day he died. So, I really don't have any, race car, guys out there that I follow anymore. So, there's not really a sense of professionals when it comes to, derbies, which I think is still kind of awkward. I believe I remember hearing someone say that Speed Society wrote an article, and I might be all wrong on this, but I thought I followed up on it one time and found some evidence that it really happened. That Speed Society wrote an article saying that demolition derbies actually was second to NASCAR when it came to like money being spent in the sport, mm-hmm. and money being paid out in the sport. And that was awesome, but yet you don't see derbies on the they're not on ESPN,
right?
They're not on TNT, and that's fine. I know they've tried to do stuff, every now and again. They'll do a little TV show, and it kind of turned into a little reality show about derbies and their family. But sometimes I still feel like it's so far from the truth. Everybody tries to spin derbies off as a bunch of rednecks derbying their old mom's used car, that she doesn't drive anymore, and that's just so far from the truth. You got guys out there making $60,000 to $100,000, and salary wise, at their job, and they're turning around and building $20,000 derby cars, showing up to derbies in semi trailers, and it's like, are you kidding me? And I'm not all about that, but that's awesome. Someone wants to put that much effort into something, and that's awesome, and. You hear people, like here in Owensboro, this is not a derby city. Mm-hmm. It's not a derby county. The fair don't even have derbies anymore. That's a whole different road. I don't know if I want to go down it, but there's two racetracks in this town. There's a dirt track on west side and an asphalt track on the east side, and there's no room for derbies here. I believe I am the only guy here that derbies in Owensboro. Probably safe to say in Davis County. And every time I pull into a gas station with a car that looks just like this, all beat to hell, every time I get asked, going to Windy Hollow? Yeah, I do great coming out of turn 2.
Yeah.
Yes, I
with
do.
With these tires, with these forklift tires
every
on the back.
single time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, yes, I do. I am a race car fanatic. I am just telling you.
Sir, if I go in circles in my kitchen just because I love it.
I mean, I eat shit and breathe round, and this car says it all. I mean, it's like, anymore I used to tell them, no, it's a derby car, but I agree with them now. Like, yeah, I'm going to Windy. I'll see you there.
See, I'll be looking for you, as a matter of fact.
I mean, it's got just the right weight distribution, and it's all in the front. So
it's right.
a lot of
pull, baby.
A lot of trade secrets in this car. Man, that's a really heavy cage.
Innovative.
Yeah, well, it's full of air though. That's really lights up that steel.
Yeah, that's right.
So
it can't be all steel,
Yeah,
I'd get disqualified for that.
Yeah, I mean it's just crazy what people.
Well, you're right. This is more of a stock car community, and anymore, and stock car racing has been big here. And you talk about the closest place for Derby to us. Hancock County has always been kind of the standard around in the area here. Yep.
You got closest here is you got Hancock County, Rockport right across the street. Right across the river. Closest Derby south would be Scottsville.
Right.
I mean, Allen County. They used to have one in Henderson. They don't have one there no more. That fairgrounds kind of followed the Davis County Fairgrounds, and they don't have a derby no more. And then they got a derby over in Union County, Sturgis, and they actually have some of the biggest derbies in Sturgis in the nation. I mean, top 5, top 10 derbies in the nation are over in Sturgis. And there's just they got a huge derby over in Evansville. A couple times a year. I mean, there's a lot of, 2 hours, hour and a half away over in Louisville, there's a huge derby. There's a lot of derbies that happen in this area. Owensboro's not one of them.
Right.
So, and with Owensboro being such a big,
motorsports town.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think it's because of the round tracks. Everybody that wants to get into a hobby, they know somebody who does round track. That's what it's about. And it's, like I said, my dad, he was an announcer growing up. He announced, I think it was at least 2 seasons over at Chandler Motor Speedway.
Right.
That's kind of where my hometown is. I was born and raised in Booneville, and I moved over here when I was 18 after I graduated. And I've been here ever since. Won't go back. I like it here. And
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I got family over there. I'll be honest. I wish they'd move over here too. But I like Booneville. Nothing wrong with it. It's my hometown. I like it here more. And it seems like you fart over there. Everybody knows what you ate. But that's okay.
Over here, people leave you alone a little bit.
Well, I can fly.
Well, not you. With your status,
I go out here on the highway and flip people off. I never see them again. So, there
you go.
And but anyways, he announced a couple years over there at Chandler Motor Speedway, and it was fun. It's just, man, people get real sore. And and I get it. You go into a turn, people are rubbing, people get sore about it. They want to start swinging. Derby track, if you're not rubbing, people want to start swinging. Yeah.
Because they're mad because you're not hitting people.
That's right. And it's like I've always had a bunch of people want to get me out there on a racetrack. Like, man, just go out there and give what you got. Like, look, man, if I'm gonna go spend a bunch of money, I'm taking somebody out. And I'm sorry to be that way.
Because why not?
Hey, if I'm not faster than you are, that don't mean shit. But that's all right. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone out there on the track is I don't want to go out there and tear up someone's car they got a bunch of money into. Yeah. And I get that. But they have got that scrapper class I hear a lot about, though.
That's what I wanted to bring up. I was going to bring that up at one point that, that seems tailor-made for the Scroyo.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what, man, there is a I don't have the name of the organization. I don't have the name of the guy. I don't have the name of nothing. I feel awful. But there is it's almost like a scrapper class series, but it's kind of a combination between racing and derbying. and it's over in Paducah, Kentucky. And I know they come up to Sturgis a couple times, and I've actually said something to him about maybe getting a hold of Windy Hollow and trying to promote a race there. But literally, it is a race and a derby combined.
Right.
And I mean, you're taking derby cars out there and racing them, just like the scrapper class, I believe.
But you can
hitting,
bash 'em up.
but hitting is promoted.
Yeah.
I mean, now if you're spun out and in the straightaway, you ain't gonna dick nail somebody at 30 mile an hour, 40 mile an hour in the driver's door or nothing.
Yeah.
That's frowned upon.
Right, absolutely.
But if you're going into turn one and you spin somebody out, drive through them.
Oh well.
That's just part of it.
They knew it was coming anyway.
And I mean, they're getting 50, 60 cars in this.
Yeah, talking about kind of like an arena car type thing. Or
pretty
arena.
much. And I mean, their prize money's $1,000, $2,000.
It's pretty sweet, man.
I mean, I don't know what the scrapper car class usually pays.
Yeah, I think it's 100 or something like that. And and honestly, you were talking about the Cavaliers. That's what's dominating out there right now. A guy named Chris Bunch, and of course he's a great, really really good round track driver anyway. But they run on a little bitty track right there in the center of the track.
Yeah, it's a flat flat track, right? Yeah.
Just run around some U tires, and again, tailor made for the Scroyo. I got to think, if you could ever get one of the slut fires out.
Oh, I've got a couple slut fires. Everybody thinks I only got one. They made more than one, so I'm gonna own more than one. Yeah, the slut fire was, that slut fire is my work car. I drove it every day for about 2 years, and right now she's down. I guess I got too hard on her once upon a time. Imagine that. She's got a head gasket blown. But we're gonna fix it, and I don't know. I might show up for that scrapper class. I wish it paid a little more to win.
Yeah.
That's the only thing about the derbies, and I will say that is most time if I want to go run on a Saturday night derby, I can win $1,000.
Well, they have they have put on some special scrapper races out there to where they were playing 800 and 1,000. People just kept kicking in $100, sponsoring the class, and it got big out there a couple of nights.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, see, and not taking nothing away from Windy Hollow or all the racetracks around. Some of these derbies, they're able to pay more money, but you only got to understand, we're derbying at fairs.
Right.
So we're not derbying 10 times in the same spot. Mm-hmm. We're not, we're derbying one time at Warwick County. So, Warwick County Fair is getting sponsors for the fair. Well, then the next county, we're going to Vanderbilt County.
Right.
Different set of sponsors. So, I mean, we're able to get pretty good money every time we run. And, of course, I'd love to have more. Why not?
Of course.
But for me, it's hard, to be able to take the same car, keep it running, same track. It just, it's hard. But, I'm not saying I won't ever do it.
You guys could be a one and done or a two and done, and you got at least 2 derbies out of this car here. Yeah,
this was the raffle car for the Buddy Ball Derby we put on in Hancock County, and that guy he won it, did really good. It caught on fire. The trainee dipstick came out. Imagine that, and
the old dipstick.
Yeah, the old dipstick poured out, and splashed a little fluid on the headers, and caught fire. And took him out, and then we took it over to Rockport and let my wife ran. She's a woman, and
I heard that somewhere.
she's a woman driving derby car. and
Wes is laughing. There's a story here, and well, I'll tell you what. Before we get into that, real quick, let's go ahead and take a break, real quick. We got to pay some bills.
Oh yeah.
We're going to pay some of yours too. So just get your mortgage statement out. We'll see if they'll pay yours. So we'll be back on the other side with Robby Derrington.
All right, guys.
You know Fairview IT Management is your one-stop shop for all your home computing needs. But did you know they are also one of Owensboro's leading business automation services, offering network automation, system administration, and remote managed support? Fairview IT Management can become your help desk to help you reduce staffing costs and keep your bottom line low. Give Gabriel Kirtley a call at 270-228-4339 for all your business technology needs.
All right, we're back from the break, sitting here with Robby Derrington. Buddy, we were talking a little bit about Derby before the break. Actually, talking a lot about Derby.
You Derby?
I didn't. Hey, bro. Hey, do you even Derby, bro?
You know what Derby's about?
It's not Windy Hollow racing with the front tires jacked all up.
Yeah, it's all about horsepower.
It is all about the horsepower. Plug gap.
It's all about the gap. Plug gap. That's where it's at.
depending on what gap you're talking about. Now, listen, Wes told a story to me, since he's sans microphone right now. You and your wife went and ran the Rockport Derby here, last weekend?
Yeah,
Right.
last weekend.
And your wife was driving.
She was driving.
You were in the back seat, curled up in the fetal position.
I was scared for my life.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But, Wes was telling a story about, apparently your wife's a woman.
A woman.
A soul woman, you
Yeah.
know. Well, they had to make that fact known at the Derby at great length, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
They just kept saying she was a woman out there derbying with the men. And,
Well, I mean, she's not a man.
No, it's
She's a woman.
True.
If you didn't know,
If you
she's
didn't
a
know,
woman.
it's apparently. Well, everybody knew at that night. So, Wes got a kick out of that. Thought it was maybe a little bit obnoxious. Track announcers are a good thing, man. They really are, and they can make it fun and enjoyable, but to a point, I guess.
Yeah, yep. They probably don't realize what they're saying.
Do we realize what we're saying?
I've been a track announcer a few times. I have, and I have no idea if I ever say anything or not. Pretty sure sometimes I can set the mic down, walk around, no one would care.
Well, I mean, it happens, Half the time they can't hear the cars driving by anyway sometimes, so,
Yeah.
But it censors itself, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree totally.
I want to talk to you a bit about, when you get ready to go to a Derby and it's Derby day and you're getting ready and all the things you got to do to get there. Do you have any, we talk about circle track guys having race day rituals or superstitions or, about anything. You have to wear the same underwear you did in the last Derby or the shirt or whatever. Do you have anything that's quirky that you have to do?
Whew.
Or what would Scroyo do? You never know.
Man. Hell, I don't know. I'll be honest, usually I'm busting ass so freaking fast and hard, I don't think I have time to do anything twice. I'll be honest, I really don't think I do have any quirks. Man, good golly. Not really. I mean, I will say this, I always tell my buddies, you don't bleed on Derby day, you don't even go out on the track. So, you got to bleed on Derby day. So, sometime or another, and you can't do it on purpose, but, all these guys, they like getting their cars done and have them on the trailers the night before, and that's fine and everything, but you better bleed on Derby day. So,
there you go.
And getting in the car, getting out of the car, walking by the car, I don't give a shit. You better bleed on Derby day, because if not, just leave that shit on the trailer, because every time I haven't bled on Derby day, bad luck. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly something new.
I just, and it's something, usually, we don't use much number 9 wire anymore, but fuck, I used to get to the track, you had to have your hood open for inspection.
Mm-hmm.
And you go back to your car and number 9 wire the shit out of that hood down so, it wouldn't pop up. Now anymore, we just throw some angle iron and bolts on the hood. And,
I see that.
And it's a lot easier that way. It's a lot faster, too. Because you can do all that work here in the shop. You just take a couple bolts out. But, tell you what, if you ain't number 9 wire car, you're missing out on some good time right there. Your hands ain't never been sore until you've number 9 wire a car.
trying to get those bow ties on there to try to hold that thing down.
Oh, man, your hands are sore and shit the next day. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to cut the hell out of yourself. So, where you cut it, and you walk by it, scrape your hand on it. But I think it was back when then, if I didn't bleed on Derby day, or every time I cut myself on Derby day, it hurt, but I'd get a little excited, like, all right, I've bled, it's good, we're going to do good today. So.
Well, that's definitely, like I said, something new we haven't heard, and how much different Derby is than stock car racing. Well, the rituals or the superstitions or anything like that might as well just be just as different.
Yeah, but and I probably do this about as much as everybody else, but I always, I get in the car, throw the helmet on, it's go time, car's started, or right before I start the car, I'll throw a little prayer, send it upstairs, and that's probably about my most repetition thing I do on Derby day. There's not much not much rituals. Not for me. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that people do. Not much for me. I mean, there's things I do, like, I always keep a wrench and a pair of pliers with me in the car.
All right.
Because you get hit, your battery cables pop off and they break. Hell, I had a derby this year where first hit of the derby, my battery terminal broke. So the whole derby, I'm holding the terminal on the battery.
That had to feel good.
It sucked. I mean, the whole time my face is down there by the shifter. I got an aftermarket shifter in there, and it just, every time I get hit, I'd have to hurry up and let go of the terminal, and so the shifter wouldn't whack me in the face, and the car would die. The carburetor was bent afloat out there on the track, so it'd die every time I let off the throttle. Have to turn around, grab the terminal, put it back on the battery, start up, do it all over again. I tell you what, I'm really surprised. What makes a good derby driver is, especially in mini cars, you don't see it much in big cars anymore, because those guys, they got so much money in their stuff. Their stuff don't go down like ours. They don't go down like mine. I'll tell you that. And when your car doesn't start, well, how many situations have you been in that before? You've got to start. Is your fuel pump working? Has your wires got bent or snagged in the car? Is your terminal still on the battery? Is your car still unparked? I know that's a funny thing, but when you're out there and you got 2 minutes to make a hit, you're going through everything.
All right.
And then when your car does start and it's not running right, I've had a car that'll run in reverse, but it won't run worth shit in forward. I don't know why. I mean, it'll drive all night backwards, but it won't go forward worth a damn. So I mean, you just got to adjust to how you're driving, how you're starting a car. To me, that's what really that's what makes a good driver. Driving your car for what it is at that moment, and that's the difference between 7th place and 2nd place.
Well, and that's pretty crazy to think, is that when we're talking about driving on a round track, we have to make decisions on where we want to put our car, what line we want to run, different things, and we don't want to have to worry about the car not running and having to do little tricks inside the car, because we just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
But you talk about driving in a whole, and that's what we're talking about, driving a race car.
Yeah.
When you're talking about driving, it's just so much more that you have to deal with, or the potential to deal with, on a nightly basis.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I'm sure you guys do like pre-track prep. Your guys' track change from the temperatures all night long.
Right.
What cars just came off before you. Exactly. I mean, oh yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I get it.
You're there. You're hitting on it.
And I can only assume us. It's not so much. You watch the heat in front of you. You know where the mud hole is out there. Every track's got a mud hole. Stay the hell away. And you'll notice the drivers from the non-drivers, because, I mean, it's derbies. You go out there and knock the hell out of somebody. That's what it's about. But then there's people that's been running long enough that, you see them, they're staying away from that portion of the track. Why? Because they know, they're going to go down there and get stuck. Duh. They just don't do it. You see a car that's, like if my ass end starts to roll up and I see a car that has bolts on the front of his hood, out there, split second, I know, don't hit him in the front end. I'll get stuck on him. Mm-hmm. It might not get off. I mean, a lot of times you don't think that fast, but drivers that's been driving 10, 15 years, they do think about stuff like that.
Right.
You really got to watch your front wheels, coming across the track backwards, and, right after you get done making a hit, you see somebody, they're going to hit you. I mean, you got to know, can I pull forward 4 feet and get him off my wheels? He'll hit me in the door, but my wheels are still okay. Make sure your wheels are straight before he hits you. That's the little things you'll see experienced derby drivers do than, the non-experienced derby drivers. I know which drive tire is mine. Drive tire might be on the right, might be on the left. Depends on what car you have.
Yeah.
They pop my drive tire, I'm done. So it's like the whole time I'm out there, I know I'm constantly protecting that particular tire. I'll stay close to a wall, or I'll stay close to an individual, and I know that no one can get a really decent shot on that tire. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's small things. Now that's stuff I do when I go out and drive. As Robby, I go and drive a Scroyo. It don't fucking matter. It's forward or reverse. It just don't.
Well, apparently it doesn't matter forward or reverse.
No, forward or reverse. It don't matter at all. We're going. Someone's gonna get hurt, and and it's probably going to be me. But you know, people don't want to go out there and see me strategize and come down, and yeah, that's boring. But you know, that's okay. I can trash a few cars just as well as I can win a few trophies. So I've done them both. It don't really matter.
Well, that's neat to hear. You know, like again, I can't stress enough how cool it is to think, or to say how much you're thinking inside that car, and you have to constantly be thinking of all these different things.
Yep.
You know, and still trying to hit people.
Yep. I mean, I have GoPro footage, and my family makes fun of me when I'm inside a car, because when my car stops, I mean, I don't have time to sit there and go, oh man, you know, what's going on? No, I've got a series of methods I go through, and I check everything. They're like, oh, you're always out there beating on shit. Well, yeah, I ain't gonna massage it, you know. I mean, I've had fuel pumps that go out, and you beat on them a couple times, they kick back on. I mean, that saves me, like I said, 7th place to 2nd place. One pays, one doesn't. You just get out there, and like I said, that's to me, I feel like that's what separates a driver, you know, from a non-experienced driver. Of course, the way they drive out on the track, making smart decisions, you know, but when that car starts to go south, you know, how good are you at adapting?
Yeah.
You know, I got hit in the front wheel one night, couldn't turn right at all, but I could turn left all night long. So everything I did from then on out, I had to make sure I did not have to turn right to get myself out of the situation. And I ended up winning. I won that Derby. But you can rewatch the video and be like, man, why didn't you go this way? Why didn't you go that way? Well, that was stupid. And it was like I had left. I had left, and that was it. So, you know, you just drive a lot in reverse, and, you know, it's just, you have to adapt, and you got to adapt quick. I've had cars that wouldn't start in park, but they'd start in neutral. So how do you figure that out? Well, you're going through everything. I mean, why it wouldn't start in park? Hell, I don't know. Why would it only start in neutral? I don't know. Couldn't care less, but it started.
But it would.
I mean, it's, you know, you can take the neutral switch out on a lot of them, but, you know, sometimes we don't have time to do it. But there's a lot of stuff you can do to make your job easier out there on the track. And no, and if shit starts to head south, you really find out how many derbies you've ran, because you're like, well, fuck, that's happened to me before. Well, this has happened to me before. You just really start going down the list. Somebody's only been out there 2 or 3 times, might not have had as much bad luck as you have, you know, running 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's, you know.
Well, that is, you know, that is another similarity, though. You know, maybe not what you have to do in the car, but it is, because when, you know, you get experienced people around the racetrack and motorsports in general that's had these problems, and say, well, I know that tire, you might want to check this on your car, because I know that tire's going to end up popping if you're not careful, because blah, 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 blah. Or, you know, hey, you probably want to, you know, tie that down or do this, or, hey, rewire that and run this wire over this, you're going to burn it up. You know, because you just know. Yeah. And you've been through it. And I've torn up about everything there is on a race car. And, but you know, some of the things you can do to prevent it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's guys, you know, they make holes in their firewalls and run their battery cables through it. Well, that's fine. You better, you know, put some hoses around the hole you made, because if not, that engine's going to shift. Those wires are going to, you know, they're going to get ate up from the, you know, the raw metal. Mm-hmm. It just happens. Is it going to happen every time? No. But when it happens once, you know, and you'll never let it happen again.
Oh, yeah.
When you're looking at first place trophy and, you know, $1,000 in your pocket, and you make one hit or get hit one time, you're like, what the fuck happened? And you realize it was, you know, wire grounded out. Like, holy shit, are you kidding me? I mean,
really?
Yeah.
Wire.
You'll never let it happen again. It's just, hell, I know a buddy that had the Derby wrapped up and won. Ran out of gas. I mean, it just,
wow.
You know, I mean, it just happens. You know, the Derby lasted way longer than you originally thought. You know, I went out there and went through 2 rain delays, and we were out on the track for 2 hours, and I ran out of gas that night. But I ran out of the gas on the way back to the trailer. I won that Derby and was on the way back to the trailer. Car ran out of gas. I mean, literally 30 seconds made the difference whether I won that Derby or not. Tank was completely full. You just, you know, you never know what's going to take you out. You know, just every Derby track's different. Every situation's different. You're actually more fighting yourself than other cars on a lot of the stuff.
Well, and you're not running. I mean, you know, we're talking about, you know, in my car, I've got a 22-gallon fuel cell.
Yeah.
And I've got to run 15 laps, and I've got 22 gallons of gas.
Yeah.
You might have to run for 2 hours on 8 gallons.
Yeah, I think some tracks max are 7-gallon tanks.
Wow.
And but I mean, shit, I've been to a race before. 15 laps, my ass. How many cautions you guys get? You guys are out there 40, 50 laps just to get 15 in.
I get you. You're right. You're exactly right.
Man,
so that's why I got 22 gallons of fuel.
That's 22 gallons to get me 15 laps.
But that's just some of the differences that you see. But it's so funny how just different things will line up as well, and how crazy it sounds from the two different worlds.
Man, I really feel like the two different worlds are kind of rivalries.
A little bit, yeah.
Every time I go to the round track, people ask me if I race, and I haven't been there in a while. But or they know I derby. I just they kind of give me this. Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, really.
They're always like, well, you tear a car up, we could race it all year. Well, I guess. But
I've seen guys tear a car up 5 minutes after they start, so on the circle track.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I used to, rest his soul, Junior Horn.
Yes, absolutely.
I worked with him back in the day, General Glass, and he's a character. He'd either get underneath your skin or not,
or on purpose sometimes.
Yeah. But he was a good guy. I didn't go race with him.
No.
I didn't know that part of him. I knew he raced. And that was about it. But he was always trying to get me out there on that track. And I told him, I'm a derby guy. I said, I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna tear somebody up. I don't want to do that. And he was always giving me shit for derbying and telling me, oh man, we could race that car. You're gonna go out there and tear it up. Well, there's more cars out there.
Yeah, there are. And that's I love it that you brought up Junior Horn, because as somebody we lost suddenly, a few years ago, and I grew up watching Junior Horn, and I've raced with Junior. I used to run figure 8 on dirt a little bit, and not as much as Junior did, but I got X'd by Junior one night.
Oh yeah.
And I drew the ire of the big man. He came to me and he pulled me to the side. I mean, just not by my choice, but he pulled me to the side and he goes, listen, I heard you were paid to take me out. And I said, well, I'd sure love to see the money. I said, because if that was the case, and I didn't, and we talked about it, and he was mad. He was very, very upset. He tore his car up and leading the figure 8 race, and I just happened to be in the X.
Yeah.
But Junior, after me and Junior never run afoul of each other. We really didn't, and that's pretty cool how you had some interactions with him and thinking about all the stuff we're trying to get people into the sport. Whatever that is, it doesn't matter. If you want a derby, if you want a circle track race, if you want motocross, jump hills and buildings or whatever. That's pretty cool how he was trying to get a guy that had a love of motorsports already. Just say, hey, come try it out with us, man. Come hang out with us.
Yep. No, I mean, I kind of, I went and welded on his car for him a couple times, and I just, we went and watched him. We went and supported him from the grandstands, and he went over to Chandler a couple times. I never seen him in the figure 8, and I heard he was pretty good in the figure 8.
He was tough.
But it's just, I think I caught him when he ran E-mods after that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah. He did run a modified. Yep.
That's where I got to see him, and some nights his engine was running real good, some of them they weren't. So that's just how it goes, seems.
Junior definitely. I always remember Junior in a big body stock car. He used to run those 70s Monte Carlos back years ago in the old pure stock class, and
big old front end.
Oh yeah, man, them things y'all would love to have them for sure. And some of the big car guys. I know you're maybe not you, but
no, the big body Monte Carlos, a sought after car in derby world.
Well, that's pretty cool, man. That we can draw inspiration from the dirt tracks, and how you had some interactions with one of the guys who was a character,
Yeah, he's he always said it's fucking junk. That's my it's my thing. It's my favorite thing I heard him say. He'd be working all sweat and pissed off and be like, fucking junk. That's Junior.
He was, man.
Everything was
They stopped and light him a cigarette.
Everything was fucking junk. So that was
oh goodness, man.
He was a character. I liked him.
I want to stay on the derby vein just for a minute, and I want to ask you about just we hit on it as the spray coupe goes by there, or the
Spray tank.
or whatever. It's a John Deere either way, green and yellow. We were talking about him trying to get you into the sport of stock car racing, which you were already into motorsports, but you think about today and Derby as a whole, and we can just talk about Derby. But what advice would you give to somebody who's, just say Wes, hey, Wes wants to build a car, or things like that. Hey, look in your eye. Wes might end up in a car. You never know. You just never know. He does want to compete at something. So,
Yeah.
But no, we're gonna get Wes in the sport, or a kid or whoever, and they're starting out. What advice would you give to draw on from your father and you? And
Be honest with you, and I get this a lot. I get a lot of friends of mine that we don't actually hang out all the time. We're more of acquaintance friends, and they always, I'd like the Derby. Well, man, get a car. Well, I don't got the money. Everybody thinks you've got to spend so much money to get into a Derby car.
Right.
It's like, you don't. I can go get a car tomorrow and have less than $400 in this car and go out there in Derby next weekend. That's my biggest thing is everybody thinks they've got to drop some thousands of dollars into a car. Just go get a car and get out there on the track. Who cares that you didn't build it? It doesn't matter. Last weekend, Greg Ubelor, everybody knows him as Bubba. He won that Rockport Derby.
Mm-hmm.
Call him up. He might have put on an aftermarket front bumper. It had stock wheels and tires on that car, and he won that show. Look at this car. There was a lot done to it, but this car is a piece of crap. We just took it because I can't haul off a car if it pulls on and off the trailer on its own. That's my line. If I can pull the car on and off the trailer, I will take it to the Derby track and at least hit one time before I haul it off. When I can't get that car off the trailer on its own, it's going to the junkyard. So that's my rule. If it'll still come on and off the trailer on its own power, I will run it. And that's what we did. And we lucked out and took third. But no, he won that show with a stock car.
With a woman driver.
With a woman driver. If you guys didn't know.
She was a lady.
Woman. But
no hair on the legs.
Not a man, but a woman. But anyways, that's like, I've had a couple buddies. They're like, man, I'm gonna go get a car and drop a couple grand in a motor. It's like, are you crazy? Why? It's like, well, I want to compete. Well, I compete every weekend with a factory motor. Factory, stock. I don't touch it. And, we do tricks. We do, our little trade stuff and, to keep it from getting hot and, make sure the motor don't shift and stuff. But, nah, I don't spend no money on the motor. I can. There's that same car right there, EFI, you can go, there's $7,000 Baldwin carbureted engine. Guys are out there running, and they're badass cars. Don't get me wrong, I ain't taking nothing from them. But, they run these huge shows, $10,000 to win, mini cars. And, these guys are putting away more work than I ever want to put in mine.
Right.
I could go spend that kind of money and go run that kind of show and either lose or win. It doesn't matter. But I just don't want to. This sport's fun. When I don't want to compete at that kind of level where I got to start spending that kind of money just to go out there and run. Yeah. And you don't have to. I could take a factory car and go out there and run against the same guy. And
you might beat him.
Might beat him. It's all about luck. He might go out there and shit, CV-ax will pop out, run across the track, hit a big rut or something. Here I'm out there with my factory, little Honda Civic or something.
Boot gone and everything. We just shed a little grease in it.
Just whatever. Outlast. You see it all the time. That's my biggest thing. If I had anybody that wanted to get into Derby cars, and go find you a driver. They're out there, $350, $400 all day long. No title, whatever. Strip that thing out, put the battery inside the car. Some shows will actually let you run the factory fuel cell. I used to. There's a couple reasons why I don't anymore. But find you somebody or get you a cheap little boat tank. Put your fuel cell inside of it and go out there. Number 9 wire your doors shut literally probably cost you just a few $100s more than what you spend on the car.
Right.
Or you can run the factory tires. It ain't gonna hurt you. Just to go out there and get yourself wet. And you like it, do it again. If you don't. You know, I mean, I built that bumper 2 years ago. Still got it. I got 9 more out back. I only run 1 bumper at a time. But,
But if they would let me.
If they'd let me, I'd run more bumpers.
I'd put them on the sides, the back, the top.
But it's like, that cage, you can tell it's a bolt-together cage.
Right.
That's a universal cage now. I run that in another car. So, I mean, I spent probably $400 or $500 on that cage. But I didn't do that my first year. Find some old oil well pipe, weld that shit together, it ain't moving. Leave it in the car when I'm done with it. I have to go find more pipe.
Yeah.
But, I'll take that cage, I'll put it in another car. But, I mean, I got 2 universal cages. And, now with my wife, my wife's been running for years. But,
she's a woman. You're married to a woman.
She's a woman. And,
proudly married to a woman.
That's right. And my brother, he runs, so, and my dad, he every once in a while, he talks about popping back in a car. So, if he ever wants to get back in a car, I'll definitely build him one. But, I got to have enough stuff around here, to put together 3 or 4 cars.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's hard to put together 3 or 4 cars. Those, the wheels and tires, you got $100, $200 instead of wheels and tires. And we run the short little wheels, and everybody sees the short wheels on the back, they're forklift tire wheels.
Right. And
everybody wants to know why you run those. Well, look at that trunk. If I had regular tires there,
I'd be dead. They'd gone.
Well, I'd be dragging that whole ass end. That ass end right there still spins. I mean, those wheels still move as compact as that ass end is. That's the reason why we run them. So it's like it's a lot easier on the car when you're, not dragging the ass end around all night.
I was checking out that ass end a little while ago.
I bet you were.
I was.
And that's
it's got curves on that ass end.
Oh, it's got curves. Curves. Don't worry about the wrinkles, though.
Yeah, you gotta watch the wrinkles.
But I got I have fuel cells that I've bought. I bought that fuel cell, but fortunately, I had Joe Redness from RDS Derby Supply. He's out of Iowa. Mm-hmm. He called me this spring, and he hooked me up with a kick-ass fuel cell and a kick-ass shifter. I've got wheel centers from him. I got a battery box from him. Dude makes amazing stuff. So you don't have to run crap shit if you don't want to. There's guys out there that build this stuff for a living, and they take care of you. And he's took care of me great. So it's like when if you get in that first car and you get your ass handed to you, and you like it. You like getting that ass handed to you.
Yeah.
Some people like getting that ass handed to them.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's by a woman. And, by a woman. And
she's a driver.
She's a driving woman. But anyways, you like it, go build you another car. Stick $100 more into the next one. Get yourself a fuel cell. One that you can use on every single car. After that, spend a couple $100 on some tires.
Right.
And tires might pop every time you go out. Now I've probably got 4 or 5 sets
of actual derby tires.
Of actual, derby tires. What we use anymore is they don't really make snow tread tires. We used to use snow tread tires.
Right.
They haven't made a snow tread tire in years. Now they make a snow all-terrain piece of crap that doesn't do nobody any good. So we actually skid steer tires,
right,
and tractor tires, the V-treads,
mm-hmm,
bolt right on a car rim. So that's what that is.
That.
And they got they make 15s, 14s. They go right on a car rim. So usually they're $50 a piece, $100 a piece, depending on what style you run. But
well, if you think about that versus the stock car stuff, and not that I'm trying to steer anyway from stock car racing or derby either way, but you think a brand new Hoosier tire, you're looking at $120.
Yeah,
got to have 4 of them. So
yeah, no, I completely understand. No, hell, that set of tires there, I've probably ran on 5 or 6 cars. Gotten lucky.
Yeah.
I got a set of tires out back I run on my Cavaliers. They're not even matching. I bet I run them for 10 years.
Well,
and I just keep getting lucky. They don't pop.
So $100 investment has lasted 10 years.
Yeah.
Very well. You know, and you're talking about when you're talking. Okay, so you get this car going and you're relatively cheap and whatever.
Yeah.
And then okay, so you want to go out and you want to derby again. You say, hey, drop another. Upgrade your car a little bit.
Yep.
Whatever you got to do. because whereas you guys, throughout the summer, you were talking to me on this about this on the phone. You could derby every weekend.
Oh yeah,
at somewhere.
Every Friday, or every Saturday, and sometimes every Friday. I think derby this weekend's Meadow Mayhem in Illinois. Huge derby.
Right.
It's on pay-per-view and everything. But there's also fair derbies going on too. But I would say, very safe to say, in Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, there's probably a derby every Saturday night from April to November.
Right.
Now, if you stretch that out of those states, there's probably a derby every Saturday night, except your big holidays.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to a derby in Chillicothe, but I mean they're huge derbies every Saturday night. I mean they're giving away over $40,000 in prize money.
Dang.
I mean it's broken up into classes and stuff, but I mean each show giving $40,000-$50,000 in prize money. It's a lot of money. I mean
we're running for 500 to win.
And I mean that's why these guys have they'll have 20 grand from engine, transmission, rear end.
Right.
20 grand. That's not counting the the 10 spools of welding wire and the countless nights and weekends they got in building their cars. And it's but you got to think it's more than that. Their kids are out there. Those kids are learning how to weld. What are mechanics? Their wives are out there supporting them. It's great. It's a lot of family bonding. It's just awesome. They're not out there getting in trouble and running the streets. They got stuff to look forward to when they get home, and they work hard for it. Why not? Let them do what they want to do. I don't want to spend that kind of money on a car.
Well, what I was getting at too, though, and that's cool that absolutely that it's one of those things where it's universal, it's nationwide.
Yeah.
And you can derby pretty much any weekend of the year. But when you get a car together, you may not run all those derbies at one time. You might run a derby this month, and you might work on your car a little bit, get things right, and then go derby in a month and a half or something. And you don't. There's not a lot of pressure. Whereas stock car racing, we're running for points a lot of times and different things, and we want to be out there every weekend because the tracks are open every weekend. There's not as much pressure.
Nope. And I will say this: there is some point series derbies out there.
Right.
Some fair shows. Like if you get a promoter that gets 5 or 10 of the same fair shows, they will they might do a point series, try to get those guys to come back, so the numbers of the cars are up. I think last year there was a point series over in southern Indiana, and I didn't do worth a damn in it. I just don't run enough. Some of those guys, I think they built 4 or 5 cars. Maybe ran one, each car once, maybe ran it twice. But, I mean, you got to see, you got to think sometimes, I'll look at a derby schedule, in the spring, and I'll try to make up, what derbies I plan on running throughout the year. And, because, some of these shows run by different rules. So I'll build one car for this derby, and my car still might be fine. But I have to turn around and either rip that car apart to fit the other set of rules, or it's just might be easier just to build another car.
Right.
So I might have 2 cars that I can run at 2 different places, and that is one of the biggest complaints from the derby world is you go an hour this direction, an hour that direction, then an hour in a different direction. You got 3 different sets of rules. Right. I mean, and they all know each other. I mean, they all know each other. Sometimes I think they do the rules on purpose differently. I mean, but it's like
well, I'll tell you what, before you get into the rules, let me go ahead and take a quick break, because that's something I definitely wanted to stick on the state of racing, because that's going to be a hot button, and I want you to go long form on that before we get into some Scroyo stuff. So
all right, that'll work.
Let me jump to a quick break real quick, and we'll throw some commercials in. We'll be right back.
Hell yeah.
Let's face it, we love racing. We need to keep those race machines in tip-top shape to stay competitive. That's why we rely on Mark V race cars and parts located at 2035 West 2nd Street in Owensboro, Kentucky. They specialize in stock cars, but you'll find all the parts you need for your racing go-karts as well. They are your go-to experts for parts, wheels, tires, fuel, and a wide variety of other items to keep you on the track. They have hundreds of parts in stock and can special order thousands of others. Give John Hayden a call at 270-240-5587.
All right, we're back here from the break and sitting here with the Scroyo himself, Robby Derrington. Robby, we have a big segment we do on this show. It's called The State of Racing, which racing can mean a lot of different things, especially with Derby and different things. But I want you to talk about your sport and motorsports in general. And what do you think the state of racing is now? Is it strong? Is it struggling? Do we have some work to do?
No, I feel like Derby's is coming on pretty good. Car count dropped a few years ago when scrap went through the roof.
Yeah.
But car count right now is pretty good. Everybody's saying it's getting modern. All the cars are getting plastic. We're still running cars that are 2002, 2003. It don't matter. We'll just get out there and break it.
Forward or reverse.
Forward or reverse. It don't matter. And but yeah, I feel like it's going pretty good right now. There's a lot of youth in the game. A lot of the old school drivers, though, they're getting out of it. So if the youth sticks with it, it'll be good. So there's a lot of big shows now. There's a lot more bigger shows than there ever has been. It used to be just fair shows and a couple benefit shows, and then you'd have a couple big shows a year. But it seems like now you're just competing with numbers from big shows every weekend. And not saying that's bad, but it takes away from the small town stuff.
Right.
So but yeah, I feel like it's going pretty good. It's probably about as good as it ever has been. So
well, that's good that it's on the upswing. Because we talked earlier about a little bit of advice, and talking about those kids, and you got youth in your sport and people that are wanting to get into it. But so many times we go to the races, and that can be any sport of motorsports, and these damn cell phones. You know what I mean? While they're a great modern convenience, these kids they can't get off of them a lot, and it seems like everywhere I go, I see kids missing so much good action on the track, whatever that is. But because they're sitting there playing on their cell phones.
Yeah.
How do we get them off their cell phones, man, and get them into Derby cars?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I don't see too many cell phones out when the Derby's going.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't. Unless they're videoing the Derby track. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember too many people being on a cell phone while the Derby's going on. Yeah, I just don't. A lot of people going live. Yeah, I see a lot of people. A lot of people going live, but it's hard to get a hold of anybody when there's Derby going on.
Right.
You just gotta wait till everybody goes home, and the gossip starts to come out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the gossip starts coming out. But you got them keyboard warriors.
Oh god.
Didn't even show up to the Derby, and they already know everything.
Well, let's. All right, you've touched on it, so let's go into it. We've talked about this. We talk about this on pretty much every show. Social media.
Yeah.
While this is a form of social media here, we're recording this and,
Sure.
and different things, but you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, Twitter, and you're right, you do have keyboard warriors. A lot of people misuse and overstep their worth on social media. How is it impacting your sport?
Well, man, we got social boards, we got conversation boards, we got Derby websites, and they are, for the most part, guys that are supporting other guys getting into the sport.
Right.
You got guys that will badmouth other people for just asking, hey, what's the best thing to do in this situation? They think they should learn on their own like we did.
Yeah.
Then another aspect is, you got to give these guys credit. They want to get into our sport, so you got to help them out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a double-edged sword. Social media. I'm not gonna lie. I've got onto these boards and not really talked, but just stocked them a little bit, and I've learned some stuff. Why not? This guy's been running that car he only runs that car, no other car, and he's been running that car for 5 years. I just got my first car that that's particular make or model. I caught 2 or 3 things. He said something to somebody else, and I didn't have to go learn the hard way. But then you got people that are, keyboard warriors. They have no clue what the hell is going on. they've always got.
I know that comes as a shock to some people that they don't know what's going on.
I mean, I'll be honest. It's kind of like I used to make fun of the person in the crowd because when I go to a derby, like I said, I've been around derbies for 29 years, and I've been running for 15. I am not going to sit here and say I know more about derbies than anybody else because sometimes I just don't care, and I'll just play dumb. But I think I know just as much as the next guy. And there's always that guy in the stands when we go sit in the stands and decide not to participate in the derby. There's always that guy that I have no clue who he is. And since it's kind of my home local town, I usually know about everybody who's in or around derbies, but I have no idea who this guy is. And he has ran every show there ever has been, telling everybody in the crowd that he's ran. He's won every show. He's got a car at home that's being built right now, and it's so badass.
He's always got a car that's being built.
Oh, that car is just around the corner from being done. Waiting on a belt. We'll be out here next weekend. And I mean, I just got to keep everything. I mean, it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. And it's the same thing on social media. I feel it's the same story. They're awesome. There's nobody out there that can contend with them. You're a pussy. You're a sandbagger. Yeah, you're an idiot. Everything you do is dumb.
Ouch, man.
That's just, I never participate. I never get, I never talk about them. And a lot of people think I haven't derbied very long. The whole Scroyo, they think I've been derbying a year at max. Because, just the way I drive, I go out there and just, head north or south and hit anything in my path. And a lot of derby drivers are like, yeah, that's stupid. Well, yeah, I get it, but that's the reason why I'm out there that night. I'll go to my hometown show. I'll drive. I'll build a car to go out there and try to win. It's different, And but a lot of people don't realize, I've been in the game just as long as anybody else has. And I don't know. I never fall into the hands of all those keyboard warriors. I tell you what though, it's funny. You watch some of the, people think I'm funny. Some of that shit's hilarious. They get on there and, man, days. They devote so much time talking shit to nobody. It's like, golly.
Yeah. Like guys that are going back and checking it like 2 or 3 days later.
Oh, yeah, that guy did not say that about me. Fuck him. That's like, oh, my goodness.
Well, that's the thing is that's what, passion's one thing, and diehard love for things, and you would defend Derby to the end. I know because it's just the type of person you are, and me with the same thing with stock car racing, and but it goes in the line between passion and fanaticism.
Yeah.
To where and just downright hate and anger.
Yeah.
For something that they weren't involved in. They didn't have a car. They don't ever have a car. They can make every turn flawlessly. Mm-hmm. They can hit every car in the right position and takes that car out one hit every time. You get what I'm saying? It's those people that do that, and I think that's really starting to hurt because kids. Again, we'll go back to the kids are on their phones, and they're on social media and they're on the face page and the Twittergram and whatever. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. We've got all three. Yeah, shameless plug. We'll get to that at the end of the episode. No, but they have, they're on there and they see this, and it's not. I will tell you, we told a story during the break. You were talking about maybe going to some motorsports events and things, and sometimes you sit in the stands and people kind of aren't the most friendly, or because maybe you sit in their seat, or and they're kind of a little bit hostile, and they shouldn't be that way. Obviously, that's just as a person. Yeah. But if you brought your child out there and somebody's screaming and cussing and throwing crap out of the bleachers and punching people in the face, that's not someplace you want your child.
Yeah. Yeah, you're bringing this up to me.
Right. But you see what I'm saying.
No, yeah.
No, but you see what I'm saying is if you get people online that are doing the same thing, and your child's online reading this about Dad, especially if somebody just gets on you personally. Oh yeah, that's a terrible thing.
Well, I mean, I even go through some of that stuff. I mean, I make my videos. Some people think Scroyo's really who I am, and obviously it's just character. Yeah. I play him, and he's fun, and he's, but he's got a time and a place. Yeah. And a lot of times I go to these shows. I pull Scroyo out of the hat, when time and a place. But you know, like I say, I even promote shows and you know, go and announce them, you know, and I don't get on the you know, I don't get on the mic and, you know, and cuss and, you know, make bad remarks, and I hope kids don't watch my videos online, but you know, if their parents let them, you know, I can't stop them.
Right.
But no, it is, you know, so maybe I'm not the best person, you know, to be downplaying that at tracks, but yeah, I've had my bad experiences about going to a hometown track just to see some really good, you know, racing action, or, you know, just a hometown show that people go to on a regular basis, and I don't. Maybe I'm just stopping in because, you know, we're feeling frisky that night and we're just trying to change it up, and, you know, you're thinking to yourself, man, I won't be back to this place. And it has nothing to do with the racing. It has nothing to do with the way it's being promoted. It has all the, you know, all the characteristics of just the people that are there, and, you know, they really don't feel like you're, you know, that you should be there. You know, you're an outsider to them. Yeah. And I've had that a couple times, and I don't walk around preaching that. But, you know, you brought it up. You know, yeah, I've been to tracks that I felt like I wasn't welcome to just because I don't show up there every weekend. And that's just to watch. That's just in the stands. And for that reason, you know, it's hard to take, you know, I have a 4-year-old. It'd be hard for me to take my 4-year-old to try to enjoy something like that. Yeah. You know, trying to completely always filter him, you know, of, you know, some crazy bat that, you know, her husband got her, you know, door rubbed off going into turn 1. Well, sorry. Yeah. That has nothing to do with, you know, me, my family up here. But,
yeah. I didn't rub the door off.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's the same way as derby track. You know, you got some crazy bat, you know, her husband got her, you know, driver's door bumped. Oh, what the whoopity freaking do? You know, let's keep your composure. But it did, you know, whether they see, you know, the kids see it at the track or they see it on the keyboard, you know, it does make a difference. I don't understand why they don't understand. It's, you know, it makes them look like fools. And
small mind, really.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I've put some stuff out there, but, you know, it's all character basis. Yeah. You know, I try not to lose my ass. I have, but I try not to.
Well, I think that's the fire of any competitor. You know, it's real easy to do that. You know, because I'm sure been done wrong on the derby track. You know, more times than not, probably. But, you know, and it's easy to get hot in those moments. But then you're like, if you just think it just a second, be like, well, maybe it wasn't that big a deal.
Well, I mean, look, the guy's made a decision. He ain't gonna change it.
No.
I mean, why make yourself look like an idiot?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you out there throwing helmets or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the dude made the decision. He's got a hard job just like you do. So, and, you know, his job might even be harder than yours.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's the one that takes fault for it. Whatever. He makes a mistake, he'll know about it by the end of the night. You won't have to tell him. I mean, he'll realize he'll realize
that he may have done you wrong.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, he'll throw a good one your way. He'll throw you a bone, but if you make yourself look like an ass, trying to embarrass him, he won't.
Yeah.
You know, we've had that. No, that's highs and lows at the track.
That's right.
It don't matter which track.
Well, now, you touched on this earlier. You know, what are some of the things that, and you've been a promoter yourself, so you know, you can talk from that aspect. You've kind of promoted derbies and been on the end of that, but you know, what do you want to change about maybe the derby as a whole around here?
Well, I tell you what, and I have promoted a show. I wouldn't actually call me a promoter, but no, I
might as well.
Okay, I guess it does clarify. I did promote a show. It was a benefit derby for Two River Buddy Ball. That's a special needs organization, sports league here in Owensboro, and it's an awesome organization. My son's actually part of it, and we love that. We love that organization, and you know, and I hope I can give back to it as long as I can. And
right.
But anyways, that's what our derby was about, and a lot of people showed up and they contributed, and it was really fun. I had a lot of good friends that helped me put that on. I mean, my wife Carrie was one. My dad, you know, he helped me put it on. Ray and Laura Hagedorn, you know, Andy Goffinette, my brother, you know, had some friends, you know, Tristan, Jalen. I mean, they all helped me. It was huge pool of people helped me put that on, and it was awesome. We had a lot of sponsors, and I'd be here for days if I tried to name them all. A lot of hometown support there in Hancock County. They got a great, you know, rescue squad, fire department. It it was awesome, and I hope to do it again next year. But as a promoter, you get calls about rules, you get calls about what you can do, and then you hear feedback, good or bad. One of the things that I really wish is I really wish a lot of the promoters in this area could get on the same page. We touched on it earlier about rules. That was my biggest thing, is I had a bunch of people that wanted to come run my show because it was a benefit and they wanted to support it, but they didn't have the car or the means to build a fresh new car for my set of rules, or they didn't want to, their car was already built and they couldn't come run. That's the biggest thing is as a promoters is I wish, because in our area, it doesn't matter which direction you go, north, south, east, or west. Any direction you go, there's a different set of rules you're going to run by.
Right.
Different set of cars, different wheelbase, different bumper rules, different everything. And it is just a big old clusterfuck. And
to say the least.
I mean, it's unreal. Unreal on everything. And I'm not saying that, everybody should hold hands and kumbaya, but sometimes, like I said, I really think they do it on purpose to spite each other. Maybe not, but sometimes I get the feeling because it's that far off. I mean, you can't go run at this track and that track because the rules are just so far off. It's not even close. So that's one of the biggest things. As a promoter, I wish some of the promoters would try to get on the same page. I don't know why it's so hard. My rules, I tried to get in the middle of the rules above me and below me and beside me, to where each guy just had to change just the minus thing to show up. And I did pull cars from every direction.
Right.
I really did. I had cars that traveled an hour south, an hour west, and an hour north, and it was close to about an hour east to come to my show. I mean, I really had cars come from every direction. So, we did something right.
Yes.
But in the future, if we do another show, I would love to. I would love to try to be able to accommodate the guys even more. Why would I be a dick and make these guys run to a set of rules that they're not used to running?
Yeah.
I want them to come to my show. I want them to support the cause that we're trying to support. I'm not making no money off this. It's all going back to the to the benefit.
Yeah.
So I want as many people to show up as possible. So I don't know if that's really what you were looking for, but
no, absolutely. I mean, it's a real world problem, and it doesn't just extend from Derby. I mean, it's everything within, motorsports with whatever you're racing, and we're seeing some of that stuff, and we've seen it in the past couple of weeks actually at some certain tracks with just they're not on the same page with their rules, and it's sad that they can't do that. But you've got strong personalities in racing, and some people believe that they're right, and other people believe that they're right, and you're leasing the track or owning the track. That's your prerogative, and that's you've got to go with what you think is, at the end of the day, is going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah.
And but that's the thing, is where we got to get. You're right. We got to get these people on board, and we've got to get things, squared up to where you can draw those cars from. I mean, it's a stretch to think that somebody might come from Utah or Oklahoma or something. I'm sure they can. They absolutely can.
Yeah,
but hard to do that, because who knows what their rules are and who knows what the rules are here, and you're right. It's a tough deal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, cars from Utah and cars from Canada. We get Derby drivers that come down from Canada.
Wow.
We get cars that come up from Texas. Yeah, it'd be really. You'd be a fool to think, we run the same rules they do.
Yeah.
But, when you're in each other's backyards and it's a 45-minute drive and the rules ain't even close, that's when it gets aggravating. I want to go run my car, up in Jasper. Well, maybe my car will pass, maybe it won't. But, I want to go run my car down in, Allen County, Scottsville, Kentucky. Well, maybe it'll pass, maybe it won't. Maybe I'll have to completely tear down my car and or maybe my car's so underbuilt from their rules.
Yeah.
Now, from Jasper to, Allen County is a pretty good haul. It's a couple-hour drive. But, from, let's say from Hallsville to Litchfield.
Yeah.
That's an hour, just under an hour.
Mm-hmm.
The rules ain't even close.
Wow.
Not even, and different promoters. One guy promotes Eastern Kentucky, the other guy promotes Southern Indiana. But still, on a geological, graph, less than an hour drive. You'd be crazy to think those guys ain't going to try to, make those 2 shows.
Yeah.
But they don't, because the rules are so far off. There's 50 guys that Derby in Litchfield, Kentucky. There's 30, 40, 50 guys at Derby in Southern Indiana. You know how many times those guys see each other and they're less than an hour apart? Hardly never.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. Now 50 guys at Derby in the same class is really hard to find. When you see it in 2 different places,
yeah,
it's pretty amazing. But when those guys live less than an hour apart and they don't, they can't ever meet on common grounds.
And you've absolutely got the potential to have a 100-car field of a Derby with both of these guys, provided they all had their cars ready at the same time. But you've got that potential there to have a huge event.
Oh yeah.
And where guys are, because you're going to get driving styles from Eastern Kentucky, you're going to get driving styles from Southern Indiana, and maybe they play it different up here than they do there. And it's just difference in folks. So. Yeah, you're right. With an hour drive, and that's what some of our tracks are here. With an hour or so, and
an hour's nothing.
Yeah, and they're close, but you're right. You have to change a few things, and it seems to me like it's a lot easier for that guy to leave it on the trailer or leave it in the garage than it is to change it all, try to go to run this Derby.
Yep, and then that's just it's what we run into, and of course I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that's unfortunate.
Right.
You guys, I understand. I mean, it's kind of a serious thing. You guys want to race every weekend. You want to race as much as possible. You want to tune your car, and you might want to really tune it for Saturday, but you go out on Friday just to get some tunage. I get that, and it must be really discouraging for you guys. I mean,
it's not great.
But with us, like I said, I'm not complaining. It's just really unfortunate that it does suck. I mean, there might be only 1 show left in the year, and I can't run my car because it doesn't fit the rules. It's it's a Derby. I'm not. I don't know. It's just and you don't know what you don't know why it's that way. It just is that way.
Yeah.
So we're talking about for my benefit Derby next year.
Right.
We're talking about trying to put in a lot of prize money, a lot more than usual. Last year we had for mini cars. I'm a mini car guy. If you guys haven't figured that out yet. It ain't that I don't like big cars, I just like minis. And anyways, last year we gave out $1,200 for first place. And now I'm thinking it might have even been $1,300 for first place. I don't remember. It was a lot of money.
Right.
And this year we're talking about making it more than that, and trying to draw numbers from further drive, but actually thinking about doing it all pre-registered Derby, and which they do.
Yeah.
They do a lot of, and letting all the pre-registered drivers vote on rules. So there's no excuses.
Yeah.
We can't build a car to that. Well, no. You help vote on the set of rules we're going to play by, and see how that works. And it might be a big failure, but it might not be either. It might be a big thing. Because if guys are going to vote from from where they're from, well, if everybody's on the same page, we'll run it that way.
Yeah.
And that's just I think that'll be all right.
I would just caution you, after being at several rules meetings for the stock car side, just give them an option or two, let them vote it out, and be done with it. Be careful with the discussion.
No, there won't be no discussion. Majority vote wins.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
I can't help it.
Yeah. No, it is what it is. And if everybody votes it in, well, then that's the way it is. I mean, if 15 guys do it and 2 guys don't, I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, you're just going to have to get on board. So.
Yeah.
Well, one thing is, we've talked about some of the negative stuff, but what do you like about your sport? What makes you so optimistic for the future of Demolition Derby?
Well, I like it. Man. It's just
currently about your sport.
Yeah, I mean, the grit. I mean, you get a Derby driver out there, he's like a jack. He's a jack of all trades. He knows a little bit about engines, a little bit about welding, a little bit about cutting, a little bit about building. He knows a little bit about cars. I mean, there's a good guy. The guys out there running a Derby car, it's usually the type of guy I can get along with.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of, I don't mean this in a bad way.
No.
But back in the day, I knew a race car driver, didn't really work on his car, just drove it.
Yeah.
That's fine, but you don't get that in Derby World. But you don't get that a lot. But, 9 times out of 10, when you see a guy there, he poured his heart, sweat, blood, tears, and every drop of dollar extra he had, and countless hours into his car with his family. And, he's out there to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I know it's the same for racing. I know it is. I've seen it too much. And, that's just what I like about it. I don't know. None of those guys got handed anything. Everything they got is they worked for it.
Yeah.
And it's God's honest truth. So I like surrounding I like surrounding myself with people like that, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do.
Well, one thing I want to ask you about real quick is not just that we won't get back off on the rule stands or anything like that, but what were some of the things that you can put your fantasy booking hat on? Some of the things that you would love to see in the future, and even your Power Wheels idea that we talked about, off air, something like that, or just specialty things that you would like to see come in that you'd be like, man, that'd be so freaking cool.
Yeah, and we do a lot of cool stuff now. There's several different classes for big cars. There's several different classes for mini cars. We do, I know of 3 different classes for lawnmowers. Some people hate lawnmowers. I get it. I understand. Some people love lawnmowers.
Yeah.
I've ran a lawnmower. One of the craziest things I've ever done. I got my ass handed to me. And I was out there with a stock mower, and I was going against a non-stock mower, and he let me know it. And but anyways, it was fun. And I don't knock mowers too much. I like them. I don't like them when they last 45 minutes, but I do like them. We do, a lot of Power Wheels for kids. It's awesome because there's not much for kids to do, at an early age in the Derby world. They get Power Wheels, they go out there and they beat and bang for 15 minutes, and it's awesome. Those kids get into it. They build homemade headers for their vehicles and stuff. It's just awesome. But no, we were talking about, some more fun things to do. I think it'd be really cool, to maybe do like an outlaw Power Wheel class for adults. Maybe bigger batteries, hop up the motors, and let adults go out there and do some stuff with the Power Wheels, maybe on asphalt, keep the plastic tires and makes them look like, they're out there racing or whatever, and they basically be on slicks. To me, that stuff is amusing because it hardly takes anything to get into it.
Yeah.
Everybody can do it.
Right.
Stuff like that is just appeals to me, and it's stuff that you and your buddies would do if you were bored.
Bored or drunk or whatever.
Yeah, that's the stuff I want to see. I want to see the stuff that you guys would do just because it looks fun.
Yeah.
And then I want to see everybody do it. So I mean, back when
and put a couple bucks on it and see what
everybody put a 20 in, the winner takes it.
Yeah.
That's how I like doing things. Growing up, that's how we did it. We'd all go play home run derby, all throw in $5, and winner takes all. Yeah. It's just like cards, poker. But everything we did growing up was winner take all, and man, we come up with some crazy ass shit. but no, that's stuff like that. I'd love to see new little new things. You told me they were doing the Power Wheel racing on Sunday,
and Windmill Speedway. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe might even take my boy out there and let him do that. He likes stuff like that. So I didn't know you guys did that. But yeah, I mean anything like that. No, I love it. Non-traditional stuff. That's me. That's what I'm all about.
There you go. Well, you think we need to let the old boy out of the box, old Scroyo?
Oh man.
Well, how did he? Well, first before we let him out, because you never know where we'll end up. Tell everybody how it started.
Well, I tell you what. How Scroyo got started is the name. The name, first of all, was the name actually came before the character. I'm a licensed auctioneer, just like my dad, and I have a big beard. Well, I did have a big beard. We shaved it off for charity, and we were, I go to a lot of auctions and a lot of Amish people, a lot of Amish communities, and I don't grow a mustache.
Yeah.
I got mauled by a pit bull when I was younger, and it's all scarred up.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know that, but I don't grow a mustache because of that reason. And so I always have a huge beard, no mustache. Everybody, I'm auctioning, and there's people always Amish there, and they always ask me if I'm, are you Amish? I got asked so much, and eventually other auctioneers just, they just started calling me Yoder, kind of behind other people's backs, hush hush. So I just kind of owned it, and one night I was making a video and sent it to my dad, and I was like, well, I call myself Scrotum Yoder. They make fun of me. I'll try to turn it around and own it. And that's kind of where it came from. And so I made a couple of auctioneering videos and sent them to my dad and all our auction friends. They were funny. And so that's where the name came from. But the character came from, I own a haunted house and had an old Halloween mask some kid gave me, and the hair was melting off the mask, and I was throwing it away, and took the hair and threw it on my head. My wife was out tanning. She's a woman.
She is a woman.
She's a woman.
As a matter of fact, he is married to a woman.
So anyways, I came out of the garage and had this hair on, and my wife looked at it. She goes, "What the hell is that?" I was like, "Oh, the wig." And she's like, "Man, that's funny. It looks just like your beard." She's like, "It looks like your really hair. That's your real hair under there." And I was like, "That's kind of funny." And I had some teeth makeup. And she goes, "Man, you look redneck as hell." I was like, "Well, let me put some of this makeup on from my haunted house. It's actually my real teeth. A lot of people think they're Bubba teeth. They are my teeth. I just I stain them up. It's like a wax." And
Right.
I put it on there, and it stays on. And so I put some of that on, and I came out of the garage just hooting and hollering. She's like, "Damn, that's funny." And I actually make videos all the time. I don't walk around yelling and screaming, if anybody's actually wondering. But I do get like that certain times of the day when I'm feeling untouchable. And so anyways, and she's like, "Man, we got a video of that." We videoed a video and sent it to my dad and a couple friends, and they're like, "That's funny." And I sent it to a buddy of mine, and he said, "Man, we're gonna put that on the internet." And I said, "Nah, I don't think so." He said, "Yeah, we are." So I was like, "All right, man, I ain't got time for this." And he's like, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll create the page, and I'll put the videos on there if you want to keep making them." It's like, "Well, we'll give it a shot." The very first video got 30,000 views. The next one got 60,000 views.
Wow.
And then we made one, with my Slutfire. That's my work car. I've always called it Slutfire. And we made it and put it on there. And 2 million views later, Street Outlaws was calling us, and Speed Society was writing articles about us. And after that, it's just kind of the rest is history. We get contacted, come out and promote events, and
Right.
and it's just awesome. We've kind of slowed down a little bit. It was taking up quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And I'm a family man, and I just had to slow down a little bit. It's not it's not completely over, because that's kind of Scroyo's not who I am, but
Yeah.
it's fun, and regardless whether I'm all dressed up or not, that's who I am. And a lot of people think it's funny, and we'll just keep doing it. And it's ironic, because when it first happened, I got a lot of kickback on social media, that loved it.
Yeah.
We got over 20,000 followers on our page, and but I always get this, these people that crack me up, because they'll send me comments that are like, if you just shave your beard and go get a haircut and get some dental work, you'd be a good, respectable comedian.
Oh,
And
yeah.
which is hilarious, because that's exactly who I am, and that's not the story at all.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was funny. But yeah, my buddy, I call him Beef. His name's Daniel Hatcher, and he's a good buddy of mine, and he does all the video work and all the editing and the music, and he's my cameraman. And honest to God, if it wasn't for him, none of it would be real fun, and none of it would be nearly as good as what it is.
Right.
But I got to give him some credit, because I just stand in front of the camera, so that's about it.
Well, it is quite hilarious, man, and it seems like you've been able to use it for good too, though. You know what I mean? You're not just some guy just hollering and screaming. You're turning it into some stuff like with Buddy Ball and different things, and especially you're talking about your haunted house.
Yeah, I have a haunted house. It's out at Diamond Lake Resort. We've been there, I think 8 years. you know, we're kind of coming down in size. Some of my actors are, you know, they're moving on to bigger, better things, and that's awesome. You know, they're growing up, getting families, getting jobs. You know, it's just a lot of fun. You know, we did the haunted house again last year, and that's, you know, the character was around, and we threw a haunted house video about that, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of people showed up and checked it out. But yeah, if you know, if you ain't got anything going on there in October, come out and check us out.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of people still don't know about us. We've been voted #1 in the region for, I know we were 3 years ago. I don't know about the last 2, but it's just a lot of fun. Just a small little piss-hole place back in the backwoods of Kentucky, scaring some shit out of some kids. So.
Well, you know, anything that we can do, you know, to help you promote that and things like that, because the video, personally, I thought was hilarious, and I've quoted it, and Wes is probably about to kill me because I keep quoting that and some other ones, you know, but you know, it's memorable, and that's what makes, you know, if you can make something fun, especially a haunted house. I mean, you know, there's 100 million of them every October, you know, but when yours is unique, and especially, you know, in this area, and you can make it really good and get accolades like you've been getting, that's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, we just, like I said, we just try to have fun. I try to have fun with everything I do. If it's not fun, I don't want to do it, and if I can't be me, I don't want to be there.
Right.
Like I said, I get loud, and I say a lot of profanity stuff. I say a lot of stuff that, you know, a lot of people are like, man, this guy's out there. But, you know, most part, you know, I'm pretty chill, and yeah, I just like to have fun.
Right.
You know, maybe I like to have fun more than other people, but I don't drink. I don't do the whole alcohol scene. It's all me. I hate to see myself, you know.
God, if you imagine if
really,
Scrotum was drunk, God.
Yeah, really out there. A lot of people, you know, like, oh, I'll buy you a beer. Like, I appreciate it. Just save that $1. But I'll drink on occasions. But I get pretty rowdy, I guess. But I've never drank that Scroyo.
So have you? Well, talking about the Street Outlaw folks, have you been contacted by anybody, or is it just how is that taken off? Or?
Well, I tell you what, I have not been contacted by anybody from Street Outlaws, and now I will say that there's not actually been a conversation between us. But they repost me every month. Everybody, I've been posted on every member from Street Outlaws. And every month, I get notifications, they release it. So they repost me every month talking about me, but no one's ever contacted me. Speed Society out of California actually wrote an article about me.
Yeah.
Didn't contact me about that either, which was really weird.
Yeah.
How they just, you know, they just write an article about me and don't know nothing about me, period. But no, they did do that. I did call kind of Street Outlaws out on a derby one time, and I know they've derbied. I've seen that episode where they went out in the backyard and played around, and that was pretty pathetic. But anyways, I called them out, and Chuck from Street Outlaws, he's done a derby before. I think it was Showdown in it was over in western part of the states, and he messaged me and just, you know, basically said, you know, anytime you want to, you know, holler at me. But, you know, he runs big cars. You know, I run mini cars. And so we just really haven't got in touch on that. So.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be fun to do, you know, let me put together a list of 10 guys, and they can bring their list of 10 guys, and we do 10 events, and we'll see what's up. I think that'd be a pretty good TV series.
They probably would.
Yeah.
You can at least get, well, one event an episode, so
that's what I'm saying.
That's a whole season right there.
That's what I'm saying. That's right. I mean, come on now. You know, I'll lose one. I ain't got a drag car. They'll win that one. So.
Yeah, but by golly, you're going to make it tough on them for the rest of them.
I tell you what, they want to do reverse on gravel. I got them. I got them made.
We have seen it.
I can do some reverse, and I can do gravel.
Oh,
I can. So, but no, they're. If they ever wanted to contact me, I'm not too hard. So you can find my number about anywhere and everywhere. But
well, he gave it to me. I did not stalk him. We just asked him. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool, man. But that's the thing. That's one of the things I'm taking away from a lot of this is, hell, we've taken up half your Saturday, and we really, really appreciate you letting us doing it. But you are very, very approachable. You act like you don't meet a stranger, and you're just easy to talk to. And we've sat here and had conversation after conversation about everything, and that's pretty cool that you're that type of person.
Oh yeah, there ain't no time to be all arrogant. No, I mean I'm 29. There's people out there that's experienced way more things than I ever will. I'm no better than the next person. I love to talk. I just, like I said, I like to have a good time, and I like to be around people that like to have good times. So I've done a lot. Like I said, got my CDL, auction license, have the haunted house. I've worked several places. It's, have a family. Right now I feel like I'm living the dream. I don't have nothing more than my neighbor, but, right now that's all I need. And that's good enough for me.
You got everything that suits you.
That's right. Yeah, and like I said, I just can't keep saying it. We like to have fun. That's it. Some fun's different than other people's fun. But I like promoting. I like being behind the mic in front of big crowds, and sometimes I'm not feeling it, and but no, I go, like I said, I go to these events and that's Scroyo, and people want me to be funny all day, and I think I do a good job. I've had a lot of people I met up with over in Louisville, Blue Gas Bash, and there's a lot of people that were excited to meet me. I'll be honest, I had no idea I was liked as much as I was. I thought it was just a big goofball trap when I showed up, and after I got there, I was impressed and very surprised on how many people was excited to see me there. And
yeah,
I get people that I get kids 15, 16 years old message me and tell me how bad their day they're having. They seen one of my videos and I make them laugh. And a 16-year-old kid says that, it hits you. Hits you hard. You hear about all the stuff that, kids are doing today.
Absolutely.
Maybe you changed one of their lives. Maybe you changed just one of their days. That's might be good enough.
Yeah.
And I get adults that tell me that too. And that means a lot. You never expect to hear anything like that. But just so you take it by day and have fun with it. And when it stops being fun, quit.
Well, you're humble, and that's the thing, and that's what a lot of people are going to see, and that's how you can change people, change perceptions and different things. Is you can be humble and just be like, there's no reason to get upset, or there's no reason to be a tightwad or whatever you want to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, there's a lot. I'll be honest. A lot of people say I'm a little bit too bitter truthful because I can say what I mean, and then not let it actually affect how I think.
Yeah.
And just keep going. If I feel like you're being arrogant, I'll tell you, hey, you're kind of being arrogant, and then we can go on about it.
Yeah.
It's not really how I feel about you. I just think you're being arrogant at the time.
Right.
And sometimes I don't get along with people because I'm like that.
Well,
and
the truth hurts sometimes.
Yeah, it hits me all the time. Hits me all the time. But no, a lot of people want to know, why don't I make more videos? Why don't I make a living out of this? And I'll be honest, I like it. It's fun. I think if I did it every day, I wouldn't like it as much.
Right.
I would spend so much time away from my family, and that's not what I want to do. Do I think I can make a living out of it? I think I could turn something around and make it possible.
Right. I'm
sure there'd be some doors open up, but I don't think I'd ever want to go down that route. So for right now, it's just fun. I go to work every day just like everybody else, and that's why it makes it so hard to make the videos like I do, because by the time I get home from work, sometimes it's dark. When I leave for work, sometimes it's dark, and that's why, you might only get one video a month. Maybe you might only get one video every 6 months. So that's just that's how it is sometimes. And we'll put them out there. People want to keep watching. If not, that's fine. We'll put them out there anyways.
That's right. Maybe to keep you, because you're going to click on it.
Yeah. You're gonna click on it. It's a good time. Anybody got any suggestions on videos they want to see, they can shoot those at me. I don't get a lot of suggestions about videos. I just get a lot of compliments. A lot of people don't tell me, what they want to see me do or anything, but that would be neat. Get some suggestions on videos they want to see. It might make it easier.
Well, maybe we can help with that a little bit.
Yeah, that would be
because we're always asking for feedback for our podcast. So
yeah,
Yep.
So that'd be awesome.
Well, Robby, is there anything you want to add to cap off the show here with a bang?
Oh hell, I don't know, man. I just appreciate you guys coming out and sitting with me and letting me talk a little bit. That's awesome. You guys are a great bunch of guys. Not too much, I lost for words now.
That's okay.
I don't get lost for words too much, but just glad you guys are here, and we're gonna continue this year. I got a couple more derby cars gonna be built, and like I said, we might show up at the racetrack a couple times, and there's some other events that I've been invited to and might show up. I get invited to every event you can imagine. There's so many people want me to come to their hometown shows, whether it be a racetrack, a drag track, or a derby track. I could go 10 different ways every day. It's absolutely just crazy. But I mean, that's awesome because people want me to come and just hang out. It's crazy. You have all these friends, but you don't know any of them.
Right. Right.
So, but no, it's just a lot of fun, and Scroyo's he's always going to be there. Sometimes he gets a little excited, sometimes he don't. So, but no, he'll be around a little longer.
Well,
So.
I think that if anybody is not wanting you to come to their event or anything like that is missing a huge opportunity, especially in their own backyard. We're not gonna single anything out, but if it's in your own backyard, I full well think that you should take advantage of that, and not take advantage of you personally, but take advantage of that situation and that opportunity.
Yeah. I believe you guys are I think you guys are about the first ones to approach me from my area, which is really surprising. Because like I said, I've been asked to go to about any event, any track, you name it, and I've been asked to go to events that, I've been asked to go to monster truck events, and it's just like, golly, are you kidding? How did you guys even hear about me? But then, my hometown, I don't get approached by anybody, which, I'm not complaining, but, it's just...
That's where you live, so
it's just ironic,
Yeah.
that stuff happens, and, but yeah, I mean, I'm very glad, supportive you guys got a hold of me, I do stuff like this all the time, it's no big deal, and like I said...
Well, I guess with us is that it was a huge opportunity for us, obviously, and again, we're not capitalizing on anybody's fame or anything like that. You're just a freaking cool human being, and really, man, from the bottom of our hearts, and Wes would echo this, but with charity work and things, but you're right. It's bad from being your own hometown, and see, we've made kind of a statement for ourselves that we're not going to float the mainstream, man. We want the stuff that if you hear something every single day,
Yeah.
That's the thing. We know the story, but we want to hear the stories behind the stories. We want to hear how they came about. We want to hear how people came about, how they're into the sport and doing what they're doing. And that's the thing is while Scroyo definitely is not the mainstream, Scrotum Yoder definitely is not run of the mill. You know what I mean? And I don't think anybody could do it as good as you could.
Oh, I'm sure there's somebody.
No.
Nah.
But that means a lot to us. It was a quick response. When you contact us and you're like, hey, give me a chance to listen to a couple of things and let me check it out for myself, and let me see if that's something that we could get together on. And it happened rather quickly.
Yeah. My work schedule's pretty crazy right now. I just work so much all the time, and I'm glad we were able to get together real soon too. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. Scroyo's enjoyed it. So, no, I'm like I said, I'm glad we were able to get together, and it was awesome. And it's hot today.
It is hot today.
I mean, it's not real bad where we're at, but
no, well, not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, can we do it outside? And I'm like, you realize tomorrow is the hottest day of the year.
I was thinking about it one time, just doing a video live podcast, drive around in the slut fire, And then, yeah, I just
We could probably get some cops to play along.
yeah, involuntary.
Yeah, probably.
See,
There's laws against that. Sir, you have to put your clothes on. The American flag is not.
Oh yeah,
clothing.
there was that.
Yeah. No, we won't bring that up. That's gone. It's
yeah,
gone.
Small subject.
Yeah, whoa. Listen.
Yeah, it's 2 flags, guys. Took 2 flags.
Took 2 flags.
Oh man.
Only needed 1.
But no, like I said, yeah, you weren't there.
No, you're right.
It was hot that day.
It was hot that day.
Everything was hanging.
The suspension and all.
The suspension, everything was hanging.
This
that
podcast
day.
is hanging in the balance now. I'm not sure. Is this the one that gets us canceled? No, it's our podcast. We can post what we want.
Oh man.
No, but man, that's the thing is that's cool, and we're glad that, and we hope that you really continue the charity work, especially since it is close to your heart.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to you.
Yeah, my boy is actually diagnosed with high functioning autism. Every day he seems to be growing, and we actually see him to be getting, more advanced than we hoped he would at this time, and that's awesome. And we just, we want to be able to give back. He's part of that program, and there's no reason I can't be a part of it too.
Right.
So that's what we do. If we're gonna be able to raise awareness and raise money, right now in my life, we're fine. We get by. So might as well do what we can and raise money for people that don't. And that's just how I feel about it. So that's.
Well, again, that's humility and humbleness, and that goes a long way, and especially because it is close to your heart, so it's a lot easier to do personally, but it's easier to get that name out there and get things out there that people will know what your cause is all about, what you're trying to promote here, and why you're trying to benefit it.
Yeah. A lot of people took a liking to Scroyo, and that's awesome. So when I seen an opportunity to be able to capitalize on that and take and bring a lot of interest and the know of the benefits, that's just that's how I wanted to do it. So that's right. Anybody else got any charity things that you might want to you need any help with, or any ideas, holler at me. I'm not the founder of Buddy Ball. I won't claim to be. I am just a pawn in their in their little ordeal, and that's fine with me.
Right.
But any benefit is awesome. That's sometimes you just you need help.
Well, everybody's got their part to play, and we're hoping that with some of the things, and again, we've talked to you personally about it, but it's not something we can really let out of the bag right now. But with some of the things that we're looking at for the future, we're extending the formal invitation for you to be a part of that, and hopefully you'll be able to take the time, or if you have the time to be a part of it, I think it would be awesome, and maybe coincide with maybe a derby or something, something we can look for in the future.
Yep. There's always future opportunities, and just everything falls into place and they'll happen. Right. It's definitely gonna be putting a lot of thought into the future of the roles that I play in my community and society, and as long as it doesn't affect my role as a father or a husband, I don't see why it's not possible. So.
Right. Well, again, man, from us to you, man, we appreciate you coming onto this show and being a part of it and supporting us, because it means a lot. I mean, we're so young into the game.
Yeah.
We say it's young, but I mean, we're not even 20 episodes. We're 14 episodes, but we're getting there. I mean, 950 some odd downloads, so somebody's listening.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
No, man, that's I think you guys are doing a great thing. Maybe you guys will have me back on here again sometime.
Absolutely.
And, we can talk about what's happened between now and then. But no, I mean, I've had a blast, and I just I hope you guys get a lot more listeners. And
well, this is definitely not a one and done. I don't feel that way. We don't want to be that way with anybody. I mean, even the 14 guests to 15 episodes that we're going to have, they're absolutely invited back anytime. If heck, we can have we can get the phone capability where Scroyo just calls into the show because he's got something on his mind. That would be great. But you just never know. You might pop up, in the middle of an episode or something.
Yeah, you might actually hear more from Scroyo if that was a possibility.
It may be a lot easier, but he's got to work too. So.
Yeah, he's a character.
Well, real quick, Robby, if they want to find you on Facebook, how can they get a hold of you if they haven't already with the 22,000 followers you've got?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. It's just Scrotum Yoder. You can find me right there.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what it is. I don't get on there very
that's
much.
What it is. That's how we found you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scrotum Yoder Facebook page. You can get on there, find me. I've got some T-shirts and some hats. I got some apparel out there. If you guys are ever interested in that, we'll ship them to you. There's some videos on there. We haven't put any videos out in maybe a month or so.
Yeah.
We're kind of pretty. We're busy right now with our day-to-day lives, so we'll be getting a video out here eventually, and so we'll be. Right now, we're just doing a lot of events. A lot of show and tell stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. It's hot, so I don't.
It's not showing shine; it's showing rust.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it's hot. So
it is hot.
It's hot.
It is very hot.
Hot and hard.
Hot and hard. Oh.
Hot and hard.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Pulling carbon.
Yeah, hot and hard. Say Garvin. Hot and hard. That's.
Oh God. We're gonna. This is gonna get us canceled.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Hey, Robby, appreciate it, man, and like I said, come back anytime. Holler at us. Stay in touch, man. We want to stay in touch with you, and hopefully you can come to the racetrack a little bit and hang out with us, and just as yourself, and bring your family, and have a great night of racing, and we might let you put the car around or something.
Oh shit!
Don't run it into anything.
I can't promise
that.
Okay,
well that's done. It's over. I've got some big bumpers on it, but I don't know how they're going to last.
Big bumpers is where it's at.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all about the plug gap.
It is all about the plug gap.
All about the gap. 196 horsepower, boys.
Oh, God. He's coming out. Anyway, so thanks again, Robby, for coming on. Thanks to Scrotum Yoder, and we'll be talking to you in the future.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all holler at me now.
We'll do it.
Breakdowns, collisions, lockouts. Things can happen on the road at any time. That's why you should call Martin's Towing and Recovery. We have years of experience to help you in your time of need. Within minutes, we can provide you towing services, jump starts, gas refills, and even unlock services to get you back on the road. We are proud to be able to provide honest, dependable service that our customers have come to trust. Please give us a call 24 hours a day at 270-929-0718 for all your automotive emergency needs.
And we're back here to wave the checkered flag. We broke our stick off of our derby car. We're out. We're out of the race. And I think Scroyo was the clear winner of this one because, man, did he give us some content.
It was
well,
great.
Not just Scroyo. We call him Scroyo. But, this episode basically was Robby the person, and that's what we really, really wanted. Yes, he does do a character, but he is a person just like anybody else. He's a working man, family man. And he's just trying to get through life, and that's he's doing a damn good job of it. I've been around Demolition Derby all my life, and now we've had 2 Demolition Derby drivers on here, and there's more to it than I ever thought was possible. And again, I'm not saying I was one of those guys that was stand driving, grandstand driver, because, yeah, I mean you just hit people, but of course that's not what it is, and I know that, and he's sharing it of how much he has to work inside that car, and a lot of stock car drivers can't say we have to work that hard because we don't. Some things on the stock car world, I hate to say it, can slide through tech, but man, they don't let you get away with it in Derby.
Nope.
And if it's a bolt in the wrong place, it's coming out of there. If it's one weld right here, you better cut it. It's just, with us, chassis-wise, it's not really. It's kind of wide open, However we put the cage in there, as long as it's safe, it's kind of anything goes there. They can be jig built or built on jack stands or built in the middle of a field. It doesn't matter. But
yep.
With derby cars, it's not that way, and they're super technical about those chassis on these cars.
Getting to sit down with Robby, it was great. We took up
We took up a lot
quite
of his time.
quite a bit of his time today, but
we apologize about that.
But I think we were having a good time, and sometimes, just like they say, when you really don't pay attention to the clock when you're enjoying what you're doing.
And either he was having a good time or he was just incredibly nice. So, you know what I mean? But no, we hope he had a great time.
And I think we got to do a little bit of separation of Scroyo and Robby.
Yeah.
We got to let you guys know Robby. Maybe one day in the future, Scroyo may have his own specific episode. But for us today, I think it was more important to get to know the man behind the character. So we had a great time. Thank you to his wife for letting us kidnap him for as long as she did. And if you didn't know,
she's a woman.
She is a woman.
He is married to a woman.
Not only is she a woman, she's a woman demo driver.
She is Carrie Derrington, and maybe we'll get her episode one time. Again, we don't want them just because they're women, but you know what? The cool thing about it is they're going to have a completely different take than a male driver will have, and that's going to be pretty cool to listen to.
I'm excited about it.
So, again, putting a bow on today's episode, Robby talked at length about Demolition Derby and his family in the sport, and all the way through for him being a promoter and supporting charities, and he does charity work, and that's close to his heart, because of a child, and that's cool. It's hard for a lot of times for people, especially parents, to share stories of their children, in the public eye, and we really thank him for doing that.
Absolutely.
And that was, you can tell that it's something that they're very, very serious about, which they absolutely should be. And but the charity, Two Rivers Buddy Ball, is very, very near dear to their heart. And when we can get personal stories like that, they're unsolicited, guys. So if they want to tell that story, that is completely up to them, and we welcome that. And it's their family, and we support their family and support their lives. So, and what they're doing in it. So that's pretty cool, man. I mean, it took us all the way through, and even got a little comedy.
He's a hell of a guy, and we look forward to having him back on the show.
Yeah.
And look forward to help support him do his thing and get more light shed on autism awareness and things like that.
Yes,
so
because it is very important, and it's a very real thing.
If you want to find Robby on the internet, he's on Facebook, Scrotum Yoder. There's probably some GoPro footage of his demo work
absolutely.
on YouTube. So go check that out.
Again, thanks to Robby and his family for letting us come out there to invade their home and just mop up their Saturday, really. And again, it's goofy of me, but I do apologize. We did take a little bit longer than what I really wanted to take of their day. So if you want to find us, I'm going to do it this time. iTunes for Apple folks, Google Play for the Android folks, Podcast Addict, which we got Robby hooked up on the podcast, minute and a half?
Yeah,
he had it. He can listen to all 14 episodes. So, Podbean.com is where our official host of the podcast is. Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn. Hopefully soon iHeartRadio. We are submitted to them, so they have a huge app and a lot of different stuff on there, so we'll be on there. You can find us on Facebook, Conway Racing Team, Twitter, @Conway Race Team, Instagram, Conway Racing, and www.conwayracingteam.com. You can also listen to the podcast on the website. We're in the process of renovation to the podcast. New colors, new mindset. We're doing the thing. Our sponsors here, Mach 5 Race Cars, Parts, and Carts. John Hayden and the folks can definitely help you out with your race machine, whatever that may be. Fairview IT Management, go see Gabriel Kirtley and his gang for any of your computer issues, different things. Helped Wes out here about a week ago, so got him rolling back again. Martin's Towing and Recovery out of Owensboro. Chad's Barbershop right here in Whitesville, Kentucky, out in 764. Glenstone Construction out of Henderson, Kentucky. Slingshot Media Group, Kevin Russell and the gang down there can they got a lot of TVs and restaurants, and they're expanding, big expansion coming, and they can make your business look great. And you know what? If you need an ad to go up on one of those TVs, I know a guy that can do it. It's Red Star Graphics. So he can design you an ad for your business. One-stop shop, guys. Slingshot Media, Red Star Graphics. Hand in hand, they're working together. So it works out real well.
Agreed.
As always, you can check out Blake Smith, Regional Motorsports Power Hour, every Monday night from Maloney's 7 to 8:30. 25% off a specialty pizza while you're there when the show is going on. You can find them on 102.7 ESPN The Game, simulcast on 94.7 WBIO. Great show there. You almost forgot. High Octane Racewear and Graphics, official podcast sponsor, as well as Willie's Carburetor and Dyno Shop. So we appreciate our sponsors. We appreciate each and every one of them. We're doing what we can for them. If we're not doing enough, we hope they let us know. We're doing everything we can do for our guests as well. So if they've got a cause, if they've got a sponsor, if they got anything, we're going to push the heck out of it just like we do ours. And we need to help them get their stuff out there to raise awareness. 950 some odd downloads, Wes. I think people are listening.
I think so.
It's getting better and better. I think we're going to break 1,000.
I'm hoping we
Fairly
do it
short
before
order.
the end of the weekend.
Yes. So it's going to be pretty cool. Have we said everything?
Said too much.
We did.
Said-
This episode's long, but we don't care.
It's a super big episode, but it's an important episode, and
They're all important.
it's our podcast.
That's right.
So hopefully, if you've made it to this part of the podcast, thank you for sticking around.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll be back next week with, another episode.
Oh, I mean, that's what I think of it. Yeah. I don't know what we'd be else next week with anyway, other than another episode.
A puppet show. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. You can't see it anyway. So, well, buddy, for Wes, the bumper shock Lou Allen.
Going to the scrapyard.
He is going to the scrapyard after today. And I'm Nathan Porkchop Conway. We appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the best up-and-coming motorsports podcast on the internet. Tune in next week to see who we're trading paint with on the Bent Fender Podcast.